and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why?
22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
GM, what's up, everyone? What's Gucci? Hope you guys are doing well. We're back better than ever with another, what are you laughing for, Josh?
No, it was the hesitation at first there. I was like, yo, this guy's...
Dude, I was fumbling with my mic, bro. It was muted for a second, so I had to dive on it. But guys, hope you all are doing well. Back with another day. We have a banger stream lined up, dude. Like our schedule, I hope you guys are enjoying this, man. I really hope you are, because our schedule has been just like alpha, just stacked. We got Ori, Pi, and Squire today. If you guys remember from a few weeks ago, we had we did the DD on stream about Pi. We found out that Pi was, was comparable in terms of its output to Frontier models, but it was, the inference was faster, it's cheaper, it's more efficient, right, in terms of its token usage. So there was a whole kind of thesis that we had on Pi, and that was at 900K. And here we are, I think it's around 2 million today, and actually went to like 3 or 4 million.
Damn, bro. Pull up a chart of that.
Yeah. Let's pull up a chart, shall we? Let me share screen. It's since pulled back a bit, but here's the pie chart here. The circle is where we discussed it, and it went it went absolutely insane. Almost a 5x from the research we did on stream, and it's now kind of pulled back into this area. And this green box is kind of acting as resistance a little bit here, but this is probably a nice little buy zone, around that area. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, right now, it's the whole, not the whole move is retraced, but a significant portion of it has been. So even like current prices right now, it's like a nice little spot here for it's a nice spot for Pi. If you want to get in DCA, if you don't know what it is, it's taken you a while to do the DD, but now you have, like, this is a nice spot for it, in my opinion. It's a nice spot for DCA. Excuse me, but that's that. Pi, we did really good. So you guys see the title of the stream today. The bear market is almost over. Here's why. And this is just me going off of the charts, going off of what I see. And we'll go through a few things real quick before we get started, though. There's 100 people in here right now. There's 100 people in here right now. What I want you to do, you already know the housekeeping. We got to start. We got to start the streams off right. There's 100 people in here right now. So I want every one of us to go to @MCG Live. Let's go to @MCG Live. And you already know we're going to do two things. First, we're going to make sure we are following the MCG Live account. That's first and foremost. Let's make sure we're following the account. All right. Then we're going to scroll down. Thank you so much for 11.2K. We just hit 10,000 not too long ago. We're in this like hyper growth stage. So really appreciate you guys. But 11.2K followers. Thank you so much. We're on our way to 11.3 and eventually 12,000. I want you to go down and you look at our pinned tweet. As you can see who's on today, we got Ori, Pi, Squire. I want you to do two things for me. Hit like and hit retweet. That's all you got to do. Wait, why did my retweet go through? Why isn't my retweet going through?
Bro,
all right, hold
on. What Elon?
So,
what's going on, fam?
Yeah, Elon, your platform's been bugging. What? What's going on right now? All right,
what? That's wild.
Let's just reload this. Let's see.
You're on your chill account, right? If you go bottom left.
Yeah. I'm on my chill account.
What's up?
We hit like and we hit retweet. There we go. All right, it worked. It worked. Yo, Elon, your platform's been tripping, bro. All right. So let's go high time frame Bitcoin chart. We have 10 minutes till our first interview, so I'm going to run through some of these high level thoughts here, and then we'll get into our first interview in about 10 minutes. So as you can see, the title, the bear market is almost at its end. So why do we say that? Well, I don't know if you guys saw there was a tweet the other day that went absolutely viral. It was about a guy named Zet who quit crypto, right? He's head of some, he's a trader, apparently a famous trader in the space. I've never heard of him personally, but this is him. Basically, he said that he was up, I think it was like $2 million or something like that. And basically, he just round tripped it all. And he goes through the entire thesis here, or the entire timeline of, hey, like I lost 500K trading. Now I'm trying to leverage trade to gamble it and make it back. And he goes into this spiel about how there's, degen liquidity, but it's spread out across prediction markets, gambling websites, 10 million meme coins. And he says, basically, crypto is over. We're going to 28K, he says. That's what he says. He said, we're going to 28K. Every coin is bundled. And at the end, he said, the game is finished. 1.3 million views on that tweet.
Wow.
And now this isn't the first. Actually, there was another tweet that I saw, and I did not save it for whatever reason. But this guy, he got a pre-seed allocation into Ohm. Remember Olympus Dow from 2021?
Yeah.
Made $80 million off of that. $80 million off of that. And he round tripped the whole thing. He only has like 100K, 200K left or something like that. So what's the point? Crypto Jones, he gets the point. Bottom signal. That's all this means. When you have people coming out, they're quitting, they're leaving the space, they're revenge trading, and then they're zeroing out their portfolio. People are saying that crypto is a scam. They're going to just leave the space. That is the time to say, wow, okay, let's pay attention. Let's take a closer look and see what's happening. So let's do that right now. First thing that's happening is we see that Bitcoin is coming into a high time frame area of demand. Not only is this an old range from 2021, but we also see that this is a bullish order block that goes all the way back to August 2024. This is where the move to the last all-time high originated. And so this is a powerful area of demand. Number two, we see that we're coming into a high time frame area of liquidity. When we look at the daily, we look at the dynamic liquidity heat map, we notice that there's a ton of liquidity to sweep here within our green box that we've drawn. And then if you remember from last week's interview, we talked with the guys from Blockworks, and even they are kind of also looking at this area here, sub 60K. So you have people giving up, and you have Bitcoin also looking like it's basically forming a bottom here. It's in the process of forming a bottom on a high time frame. Now, there is more. There is more to this thesis. So let's go through it. So we have people quitting, we have people giving up, but then we also have this chart here from the boy Rekt Capital. As you can see, Rekt Capital, he's done this for bull markets and bear markets, where he does this kind of like progress that each cycle is in. So he actually has been very accurate timing out the bull market. And he basically said last November, like, hey, like, this is kind of it. Like, the bull market is done. And now basically he's saying we have, we're on our last leg of this bear market, is what he's saying. On the last leg of this bear market. Now, I believe he wants lower prices. As you can see, this box that he's drawn goes all the way down to like, sub 45K. I don't personally think we're getting that low. As you guys can see from the green box that I have drawn out here on the Bitcoin chart, I think we're going to sub 60K as normal. People will call for lower prices. Bears would get greedy. Doomers on the timeline will come out in mass calling for lower, and it just wouldn't come. If you guys were here when we were hitting 15K last cycle, there are people talking about 12K, sub 10K, right? And here's the last thing I'll share with you. I did a post just the other day, and this was just yesterday, and I said that it feels like we're about to have an on-chain summer. Now, why do I say that? Well, most people have capitulated. They've zeroed out. We've just talked about that, and we've seen that. We've also seen that here in some of these Twitter posts that have come out. But then notice the on-chain volume. This is the highest on-chain volume has been, since December 2024. The last time we cracked 100 billion in on-chain volume was back in AI season on Solana. Okay, so you have that. Next, obviously, we've talked about this, and you'll see that from our interviews today. On-chain innovation is at an all-time high. We've interviewed so many founders who are experimenting on chain. They're trying out new, like the Prisms of the world. I don't know if you guys saw Candor, I believe.
Yeah.
Candor,
whatever. Shout out on that call in the MCG Discord. That
Yeah.
call was amazing. I slammed that thing at like 300K, and it ran to like 900K in like 2 minutes after.
It was actually
Who called that? Ica?
no, that wasn't Ica. That was a homie in the Discord, just a fellow homie in the Discord.
Homie in the Discord, man. Honestly.
But so there's that. And then the last thing that the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys was this tweet that I have coming out in about 2 hours. Notice this. July. This is the monthly returns for Solana, by the way. The monthly returns for Solana indicates that July is one of the best performing months for Solana. So let's put all of this together for a moment. We have people quitting crypto in mass. People, they have a doomer mentality towards this space. It's all a scam. There's rugs everywhere. There's meme coins. Nothing good is going to come out of this space. People have zeroed out their portfolios. But meanwhile, we're coming into a bottom on Bitcoin. We're 75% done. Number two, we're coming into one of the best performing months for Solana. And then we're also seeing on-chain innovation at an all-time high with pre-stocks, equities, ACE rounds, token to equity models. And it's all built on Meteora, by the way. So, we got to put that. We got to put that in there.
Meteora.
So what does that equal? A bottom signal. Come on.
Look.
What's up, Dom?
How many times on this chart have we seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Was that 6 months of red? That's crazy.
I don't know. I look at these charts. I never really take them too seriously because I feel like it's just so random, to be honest. The seasonality charts, I don't know. I used to believe in seasonalities back in the day, but I feel like the market
just copium, Dom. Give us a little copium,
Well, look, I'm excited. I'm in the camp that we're going green on Solana. Look, I love the people being back. Our Black Bull Ansem is finally back. Shout out Top Fumbler. But I love the CTO of Solana, dude. This is exciting times. I haven't been this excited on chain. It's been gradually creeping up over the last couple months, but sorry. Dude.
So here's why here's why I'm paying attention to this chart. I mean, if you notice, this chart is just look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months so far in the red, right? So 9 months in the red on record. When we go to the Solana chart, but we go on a high time frame, the 2-month time frame, we notice that we're coming into a 2-month FVG. So we're coming into an area of support after we've gone down 9 months in a row, and it lines up in terms of being one of the more bullish months for Solana. And we see dormant wallets waking up. Right. We see on-chain activity. We see the volume. We see, all these things happening all at the same time. And hey, look, I'm bullish. That's the only thing I can say. I'm bullish.
Bullish. Dude, that chart for Solana is the most brutal chart I've seen in a long time. I mean, it's just 7 straight months of down candles. It's rough. Well, but hey, there's hope.
There's hope. We got to pivot to the next segment. Dom, maybe if you want to tee up the next segment, we could pull it up a chart maybe of Ori. But yeah, man, it's been rough. Definitely been rough. And I want to remind you guys, get into the MCG Discord. So Chill did some housekeeping. Go to the MCGX account, click the link tree. Our Discord link is in there. We will be releasing a product today. There will be a product release in the Discord today from MCG, and I'm excited to share that all with you guys later today. That's where the stream notes will be located too, by the way. Stream notes won't be released on X anymore, potentially. They might only be released through a special product. So
there we go. This is very much a public good, so we're open to iteration, open to feedback, and we will make it a great product for everybody. With that being said, let's talk about Orinth, guys. Now, this one kind of goes back, I think, even to the Believe days. So Believe was popping off, if my memory serves me well. Believe was popping off, and Orinth went and launched on Bags. And I can't recall if they launched as a launch pad or launched as a standalone product, but at some point down the line, they became a launch pad. Obviously, since doing that, they've had $750K paid out to creators. They've had some really hot new launches, which we'll have on right after this. We got Alpi coming on right after Orinth, which is one of their top projects. And there's another one, Farklo, something DB, that's also popping off right now. Ironically, you rarely ever see this, where the ecosystem token, right, Orinth in this case, the launch pad, the underlying infrastructure, is actually cheaper than its highest ecosystem projects. Typically we've seen in the past, we've seen this with Believe, for example, when Dupe went on its historic run to 80 million, Believe quickly repriced. This is the case for most. I mean, look at MetaDAO. Meta token is, higher than all the ego tokens. This is a unique case because Orint is actually not at this point. So maybe it's an opportunity, but again, one that's been sticking around for a while. It's really nice to see builders who are here. They have their face out, they're working, building in public, and months down the road, they're finding product market fit. They're finding traction. And that's what's happening here. 750K paid out. They have a couple of really, really good launches. They've been doing product reviews. I think it's everything you want to see from a founder, but we got to talk to Giannis right now to really diagnose this. With that being said, I want to pull up my guy, Giannis.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for the kind words. Everything that you said matches exactly on like what we do. Basically, like a story that many people don't know is that we started as an AI website builder, and then later on we pivoted to a launchpad. We saw like it was technically really hard to compete like with Lovable and other like great companies. And we saw like this window of opportunity to basically make a launchpad specifically for builders and founders. And yeah, so like that failed, the AI website builder, and then we decided to do this pivot.
Yeah, so I got to ask you, you're doing the AI builder website and you decided to do a launchpad. What was that like? Ringing bell in your head that said, this should be the pivot we do? Because we see a lot of people trying launch pads, and we see a lot of them, fall short for various different reasons. Some of them have, I think, just bad no tokens launching, right? They don't have a good pool from investors to pull from, or the founder education is poor and people just rug their tokens after a little while. What in your mind said, I'm seeing this happen, we can do this better?
I mean, it was like all the other launchpads, without no hate to nobody, like they allowed every token to launch, right? And on our case, I knew like traders, we like a procedure, like a listing procedure that we can review and we can examine that it's, basically on us, if somebody wants to launch a token, they have to go through a listing period, through a listing form, and then we review and make sure everything's all right, and then we allow them to launch. So I knew like, okay, this is really important for traders. That's one thing. Second, I would love to have like a place where I can just find new products and I can essentially bet on a product that I believe in, either on the founder or the product itself, like the tech or whatever. So the initial idea came from Product Hunt, like I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Product Hunt.
Yeah,
but
very cool.
Because I was also like building other stuff and stuff like that. And I saw the website and I knew like, okay, what if I could make something like this, but for founders, for crypto, to enable founders to not only list, but also create a token on the same page, page. Yeah. So that was the initial idea. And I had a team that I was working for another project that I knew like, I could talk to them and have like a sales team, like people that can onboard new founders. And like when we were doing the AI website builder, we were hitting a wall all the time. Like the quality was not there, like the same as Lovable. In my mind, like it would need a lot of months in order to compete with, at this high level. So I knew like if I make a pivot and I could make this website, I knew that I could make it a success in much shorter time. And that was the pivotal moment. Like I said, you know what? Let's do a pivot, even because we launched on Bakkt, like you said, and we had holders. They believed in the vision of AI website builder. Everybody didn't like the idea of us doing this pivot. They were like, "What are you guys doing?" But I knew like we will reach success much faster, and we can generate revenue this way. So, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more on this. Ironically, during this tech season we had, or this ICM season, a lot of the research I was doing was going onto Product Hunt and actually finding projects that potentially could launch or are in the crypto sphere. And so like one of my questions has always been, why aren't these launch pads going to some of the projects on Product Hunt and getting them to, help bootstrap that distribution? Of course, largely going on Product Hunt is for that distribution, for people, to be able to discover your product. And so it felt like a gap. But with that being said, I want to kind of walk it back. You said you kind of vet all the projects that launch on your launchpad. Is this a democratized launchpad, or is this going to be curated launches only?
It's basically, we are always adjusting, because like before we had this spike like we had now, we've had lower amount of listings coming in, right? So we were a bit more easy for and allow people to come and list. But now, because we have a lot of attention on us and every launch has volume, there's a lot of people that try to like use this as an opportunity to launch whatever, like they list a website, they create a website with AI in one day and they try to launch on Orange. So now we have like a system that checks like many things. It flags, for example, if the website is created like a day ago or 2 days ago, we don't allow that. Like if the founder that, because in order to list on Orange, you have to authorize your X as well, your X account. You cannot list with, like, if you go now and go to try to list, it will ask you to authorize your X account before you do it. And we check also the X account if it's associated with other contract addresses. And basically we do also a review of the product. If it's a simple landing page with no actual product, we don't allow it. Of course, in the past we did a bit, but now we are refining. This is also the Game Cup that you're seeing now, that we launched like a few days ago. But yeah, basically we do a review process manually on our end. We have like a person that's doing it.
Got you. And this is something interesting that a lot of launch pads don't do. And I think people don't realize lots of these launch pads, we'll say Pump Fund or whatever it might be, make a lot of money from pre-bond tokens, from LARPs, from PvP. And so it makes a lot of sense for them to do that, even though it's kind of hurting the community.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It makes sense. It makes sense because, of course, it produces revenue, because a lot of the people, a lot of the traders may not care at the end of the day. But we believe, like, if we continue to do this and we like have quality projects, like over time, people will eventually see the value in us. Like they will, because if I was a trader and I wanted to decide where should I trade, on Pump Fund or, no hate again, like I don't mind, it's our competition, but it's healthy competition. But if I was a trader, I would prefer to like have a place where somebody actually takes the time to review the projects, because on Pump Fund you can launch with like with one click, and it's if you don't have like the insider information, all of that, you're not really in an advantage to actually like review your project. Like you know what I mean. Like it's not right. We're trying to bring quality founders basically. And
no, it makes a ton of sense. I want to kind of walk this back though and get your background. You were a builder before this, maybe an engineer. What kind of qualifies you, I think, to make this work? Is it just a hardworking dedication to make something, a success? Or do you have a background in business development? How are you onboarding a lot of these, quality projects?
Yes, sorry to interrupt. Also, Dachi says we also do a GitHub verification, and LinkedIn as well. It's coming up. So like if you go to a product page right now, you're going to see, I can give you an explanation on how it works as well. I think it's valuable. But for my background, basically I was, a kid that loves researching and doing stuff on the internet from a really young age, from 10 years old. I started as an IT, like IT. I don't know if you guys know that. A regular job, but then I pivoted to crypto, and then I created Spybox, which was a bot on Telegram that grew like to 10,000 groups. It's basically a bot that notifies for new Twitter notifications. And after that, I sold that as the company, the bot, and then we did Orange, basically. So basically, my experience is just I can know how to build things. I know what works, and I know like to find the people to make something work. So this is completely bootstrap, no like nothing. Like we did it on our own with our own money, and and we are really committed. Like we always try to pivot and do like what's the next. For example, now we did Game Cup out of nowhere. We saw like the opportunity to bring more game builders, and this was built in 2 days. Like we made this whole thing, and in 2 days we have like 160 games already, I think.
So tell me about how things have been with kind of these more curated launches with all these verification steps. I mean, have you guys gone through the process of seeing a token that maybe does rug? Obviously, no one's ever perfect. It's going to happen over time. But like, how do you mitigate that? Because I think the idea of me logging onto a platform and really separating the wheat from the chaff and seeing only quality projects that are genuine forward-facing builders that have good faith, at the front of their mind is a really nice thing to have. Obviously, it's never going to be 100% hit rate, right? This is just the nature of the game. But how do you make that as close to possible to all legitimate, good faith builders?
This is a great question because you don't know at the end of the day what the builder, the founder that's going to list has in his head. Like you see like the socials, you see everything, but we don't actually take the time to review every product. Like we don't go on a call and ask them questions or stuff like that. We just ensure like it meets our quality standards based on what they fill in the form. And of course, based on the X account, GitHub, and all of that, we take in consideration everything. And we have like a small algo that says, okay, this is a red flag, this is not, and this is the way we do it. Of course, we cannot like say that every project is gonna do well, but I think it's a much better for the trader to go like to Orint, and he can see like, okay, this guy or like authorized his X account, and this is 100%. This cannot be faked. Okay, this product listing is connected with this guy because he authorized. This product listing is authorized with this GitHub account. Like all the socials are connected actually, so nobody can fake that. And at the end of the day, the trader can decide if what they see is actually worth investing in my opinion. So I get your point, but unfortunately, it's not like 100. We cannot 100% make sure that a token will succeed in the long term.
Yeah, Dutchy has a good question. I want to kind of talk about what sets your Launchpad apart, because it almost feels like today you have more Launchpads than launches. That's kind of like the ongoing joke. And so like, I want to get, I guess, a deep insight into your mind when you think, what are the shortfalls of some of these Launchpads and what kind of sets you apart as something special that the trenches are going to like, that the people are going to trade. And then I guess with that also like leading into your pipeline, how do you manage to source such great projects and continue to do this? So I know it's two questions, maybe start us at the top with some of the shortcomings of other Launchpads and how you guys avoid that and, set yourself apart.
I think the review process that you have, and basically every listing is connected to a product. That's one thing. Like there's a lot of builders now that want to, get more attention to their product, maybe earn some money from somewhere, or get users, the initial users.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're a person that likes like tech tokens, let's say, they prefer to invest in something that has some utility, or of course, it's a better place to find it, and it's a list where you go to the next page. The next page, you can find something that you may think that is undervalued. So I think that's one. Also, like I said, having authorized links, it's really important because like nobody can fake that. You can go to other Launchpads, they can claim that they are like Tesla, but they're not. Like here, you cannot fake it. And we're gonna add more social options like GitHub. GitHub is already there, LinkedIn and other stuff like that. So the founder can actually link himself to have like social proof. And yeah, that's basically it, I think. Also, like, it's not from traders' perspective, but for founders, we also have like a founders group that we try to always be active and help like every founder, even with reviewing their product as like, like a friend asking a friend, like, do you like my product? What do you don't like? Like, we are a community of founders now. We have like 170 people inside. All of them are founders. And we have like people specifically like our team basically to help every founder. So this is like, we are only focused on that part. We don't want to mess with every other area like meme coins. We want to focus on founders, on builders, actual builders. And as we get more momentum and more people start listing, the quality standard is going to increase. Like now it's here. If we get a lot of, we don't want everything, but we want the best. But right. Since we don't have like a lot of listings now, it's going to be, the quality of standard is going to be here. If we get flooded, like we did like this week with more listings, the quality is going to increase. We don't want every launch. We want the best. So yeah, so basically it's authorized links on the listing. It's a better place for founders to get support, actual support. We also do product reviews, as you previously said. Like we have like a person that is doing every day one single product review. Like even today it's gonna be another one, and tomorrow another one. This is picked by like randomly, and we are gonna focus more on that, like more content from our side, basically nitpicking some founders that have a really great product to review it and spread it out. Like basically we're trying to help founders as well. We're not only a Launchpad, like we try to help them. Yeah.
So along with that, with many Launchpads, whether it was Believe back in the day or if it's Pump Fund or what have you, there's always this question of, okay, what makes the token valuable? Why like is it connected through buybacks? There's a big debate about whether that, provides value or not. How are you thinking about that, and how is your team thinking about the tokens itself?
You mean the Orint token?
Whether the Orint token or all of your your ecosystem tokens, but maybe we can start with Orint and then kind of expand to the others.
Sure, we do have something, of course. It's not gonna be just like a random coin. Like, we do have something, but we are not really prepared yet to make an announcement on that. But I'm gonna give you an overall picture of what I have like in my mind of in the following months, years, because this is not gonna be like this is gonna take a long time. I mean, it's gonna be a long-term product basically. But what we're planning basically is Orint is not gonna be a single like launchpad. It's gonna be a protocol that has an umbrella of products underneath it. Like, we have we are also working on another product. I'm not gonna go in details, but everything is gonna be connected to Orint and the Orint token, and it's really exciting because people will not understand yet what I'm talking about, but eventually they will, because like even we are working on a mobile app, for example. Similar like FOMO. I mean, have you heard of FOMO, like the trading app? Yeah, we're also working on an app as well. We're also working on a platform it's basically live streaming but connected with bottles, which is really interesting. And this is the totally different direction, but because I don't want to do something and go against and like take my time from Orint and do something else, but I know that this is a great opportunity for revenue, and I know this can succeed. So eventually, all of the products that we have in the pipeline are going to be connected with Orint and the token itself. So
got it.
Yeah, it's coming. We're going to create a page that explains everything and how it's connected. Really, maybe in a month or so.
Okay, so you have some more updates coming down the pipe as far as the Orint token is concerned. How are traders, investors, people looking at your projects within your ecosystem? How are they supposed to think about the token? We've seen, Pump Fund with their ACE rounds. We've seen Meteora come out with like a Bedrock. We've seen so many token to equity models. We've even seen the crypto native sort of solution in MetaDAO. How are you thinking about, these types of models, and do you plan to even incorporate that into your ecosystem?
Yes, we do. I do have a model in my brain, but I'm not gonna say nothing for now. But I do, and it's gonna be a detailed page that explains everything and how it's connected. Yeah, I will leave it at that for now.
I'm assuming this is similar to how you'll set up the Orint token. I'm assuming if it's gonna be.
Sorry, you meant for the other tokens, for the how?
Yeah, for your ecosystem tokens, is there a model that you have in mind for them?
For now, we don't, but Bedrock, we are in communication with them as well. We do have like an open conversation with them, but we don't have something in right now, as of now. But of course, we're ready to do whatever to make this. Like, if we see that this is something that traders actually need and want, we're gonna do it.
It definitely is something traders need and want. The question is, I feel like there's a social contract between people that launch project founders and then traders. Traders say, hey, we'll give you this early idea, this early stage startup. We'll give it some funding. We'll back it. We'll build positions in it. In exchange, we just want some upside on the company. This company does well. We want some upside. And what happens far too often is, these companies maybe go and do well or go get acquired or start growing a user base. And then the holders that bootstrap the distribution initially are just kind of left in the dust, whether they abandon the token, whether they get acquired, whatever it might be. And so, it leaves it up to question that founder education, I think, is lacking in a big way in this space, right? Founders don't really understand what they're signing up for. They think they just get a bunch of free money and they can kind of run free, when that seems to really not be the case. And so, again, we'd like to have these discussions about these models, because when there is some equity or where there is some IP ownership to the holders, they know they can have some upside. With that being said, how do you guys think about founder education and just making sure your founders know kind of what they're signing up for, the social contract, if you will, that they're signing with traders?
Yeah, we do have a guide on our website that is called Founder Guide. It basically explains the whole process, because some of them are from Web 2 and they don't really have experience with Web 3. And like, we have one thing that is a bit you know, like it's a double-edged sword, like, because logging in on Orent, you automatically get a wallet, everything is set up, you don't have to connect anything. So in a way, for Web2 founders, it's like, okay, I'm gonna list on Product Hunt, you know. So about the question, like with the thing with Bedrock, I think from product perspective, it's a bit of like it creates a lot of friction to go through this process as a founder, you know, and it's a thing that I don't think it's gonna easily work. Of course, it's really interesting, an approach for traders to actually get the upside on the company. But like, if of course we find a way that is frictionless or reduces it as much as possible and creates this value to the holder, we're gonna do it. We're gonna try to be the first to do it. Actually, yeah, I do agree that this is something important. And of course, yeah, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. No, I want you to finish that thought, please.
Yeah, so basically we are also gonna like create more videos and explaining like what the founder should expect after launching as well. This is something that we are planning to do, like a list of series. What, like, before they even launch, they have like the option right side. Like, imagine you have like the button launch, and right underneath it, like a guide that goes like 10 episodes and explaining everything.
Yeah,
how it works and how they should look at it, how they should integrate it to their utility, and all of that.
You know, one thing I saw that I thought was very interesting that's not explored, I think, quite enough is Virtuals has this 60-day launch mechanism. And I only recently found out about it, but it's a mechanism where founders can choose to launch a token and in 60 days try to find product market fit. If they find product market fit, they can choose to basically give their stamp of approval and accept the token and, you know, continue to build out and build around that token, or they can basically discontinue the token, liquidity is pooled, and all holders are made as close to whole as possible. Of course, there is some downside there, but I guess that's the bet you take in, you know, in these early stage companies. But I think like it's a really cool model that hasn't been explored enough when you pair that with something like a Bedrock or an equity model. And for 60 days, these founders grind, maybe 60, 90 days, whatever the number is.
Who decides the product market fit would be my question. Like, who
Well,
decides?
it's the founder. It's the founder. So they would build and they could say, okay, you know what? I'm not actually feeling this. Or I don't think it's gained enough traction, or I don't like it. I'm just going to choose to discontinue the token. And again, that's where liquidity gets drained. Holders get refunded as close to one-to-one as possible. And I think some of the fees go towards that pool as well. So it kind of stacks up. Or they can choose.
Sorry to interrupt. What if they decide that they found product market fit, but they actually didn't? Like,
well, then they're going to have to keep going, and the token probably isn't going to do very well.
Okay.
It's just, again, it's the way Virtuals has it set up is just, we're going to keep the token or not. There's no like equity component when you sign. But I think the interesting vision would be have the 60, 90-day mechanism. If the founder thinks they want to continue, if the token holders think they want to continue, maybe it's a vote on the token holder side, even after 60 to 90 days. But, you know, now they have these fees. I think putting some of that towards creating an entity and creating an equity component to continue this out is like an interesting thought. So I don't know. I just felt like mentioning that because I feel like I've seen that work for Virtuals. I think it's a really cool mechanism, but I think paired with equity and like the right contracts to continue a project would be like an interesting iteration on top of that.
It sounds I'm gonna check it out right after the call, actually, because I haven't seen it myself.
Sweet. Chill, you gonna jump in?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of talk a little bit about I mean, since we were on that conversation of product market fit, you know, what kind of traction are you guys seeing? What are some kind of high level numbers that you can toss our way to showcase how much your platform has grown?
Actually, I'm gonna be honest. We have like our first month. We did like $500,000 in creator earnings, and then we dropped down a bit, and then like we made like, I don't know, like 150K in 10 days or something now for creators as well in this period that you saw like the chart and Orient pumping. Essentially, we're now not really stable yet, but like, you know, like having stable revenue. We have like these great moments of great founders coming to the platform and listing. And now my goal is to basically have like more founders and more like smoother, you know, revenue. So we don't have like these peaks and then lows and peaks and lows. So we have like a smoother onboarding process for founders and basically better founder, because that's one of the issues we have now. We don't have like really great founders, and we want to grow on that, basically get more people.
Can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah.
We've seen obviously founder pipeline being like the big bottleneck for a lot of these launch pads, especially like utility launch pads where we're focused on tech. How do we get the best founders to come and launch? Easy 8 does a lot of hackathons and they kind of source from the best hackathon winners. Believe had, I think, a deep pipeline with Ben Pasternak and his longstanding just position in the tech world. When you guys think of your go-to-market strategy and finding great founders to launch on the platform, what does that look like today? And how do you think you want to improve that to become a really dense pipeline for yourselves of just quality launches?
More people in our team and more marketing, more emails, basically more communication from our side, and basically creating a better system from like this is business, but we basically need people to find leads, people to talk to the leads, people to close the leads, explain to them, like go in a call and explain them how this whole thing works, if it makes sense to them. Even I, like yesterday I had a call with a game studio, like they want to launch with us. They really like the idea. And so I have a team, and I'm gonna need to add more people to the team. That's basically our way to get more founders. And we need to basically increase like the quality of standard that we have already, to make sure like we get the best. We don't just get any founder, we get the best founders to list with us. So but yeah, that's the whole, it's business, like you need to get more founders, you need more people in the team, or a better way to get them, a better strategy, a better system.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. And what's maybe your pitch to founders? Because I think we've seen a really strong case for like distribution. Launching a token, just it bootstraps distribution in such a very good way. I mean, you've seen it time and time again. Axie Infinity is a classic example. I think Kled did a really good job doing this. And then recently we've seen a lot of these gaming tokens like Kintera and some of the other gaming tokens do really well from adding a financialized layer and like bootstrapping this attention and distribution. I think right there, that's one of the most compelling things for founders is, hey, get a built-in community, get users instantly if your product's good. What's your pitch to founders? You got Alpi, for example, they're coming on right after you. When you go up to these founders and they're looking to launch a token or they want more traction, what's kind of the pitch you make them to come and launch with you guys?
Basically, the pitch is that you essentially create a token and you immediately get a community behind you. That's one thing. You get earnings from the token fees. And if you are serious enough, you can like get your community behind you. And this energy that you get from the community is really important. Even Orinth as a launchpad, it was started, this way. So I am an example of like this exact thing, like the energy that the community gave me and the ideas and the push that we get from also the earnings, of course. If you're a serious founder actually, and you want to build something great and you don't have a connection, you don't have VC, you don't have any of that, and you have a great idea and a great product. Today, you also have AI to build it, right? So you can actually do it with Orinth. You list, if people like your idea and your vision and the way you do things, you can earn money from the fees. If you can continue building, do the pivots if necessary to succeed. Like this is what we did. We started on Bags. We started an AI website builder. We launched. We made some money there from the token. But I decided I want to continue. I don't want to leave my community behind. I want to take this community because I personally and the team members that I had, we want to succeed either way. Token, no token, we want to succeed. So we're gonna try to make this happen, even if we're gonna try to make this happen. Like even like the launchpad doesn't work. Example, we believe it's gonna work. We're gonna do everything to make like our product succeed. Orinth. The name is not gonna change. We're gonna make Orinth a success and bring revenue, because I know personally, if we bring revenue enough and we can utilize this revenue to the token in any way, the token will explode and everybody's gonna be happy and the community will be happy as well. So basically that's the pitch to the founder. You can create a token when you don't have people following you on X. It's really hard to get users if you think about it. Like you have a great product.
Oh yeah.
But to get this initial spark of users trying it out and like commenting on your posts and giving you opinions on it, and this is really important to start, in my opinion, because that's how it worked out for me, and I believe on that as like a lot.
The initial distribution and funding is a game changer.
Yeah, and the push you get, like you push a new feature, you get a lot of people interested in it, and you see live on the chart as well. Like the more you push, the more people are interested. The token price goes up. You earn from the fees. You can use those fees to hire developers if you want to, or somebody else. That's what we did. Like with Orinth, I used the fees that we collected to basically pay for developers.
Amazing. We have to get towards wrapping here. We do have Alpi in the waiting room here, but I want to ask this question that Crypto Jones has to close this loop. What are the incentives you can offer founders to launch? Some launch pads we see help accelerate and distribute these founders' content. Some of them, of course, put them in group chats and help them like build amongst the ecosystem and work with other projects within the ecosystem. Of course, funding and fees is one. Where do you guys step in and offer incentives to your founders?
Sure. Fees is the number, of course, something that every launchpad does, of course. But yeah, that's one thing. Also, we do the product reviews. If the product is actually interesting, we're going to do a review on it 100%. We have a private group, which is Orinth Founders on Telegram, that you get invited after your product is approved. And we also we have like people connecting with other, like we have a person on our team that if they see an opportunity for a founder to collaborate with another founder, they're going to try to make them get in touch and have a collaboration, for example. So these three things.
Giannis, I have to jump in here. You had FLKR Fokker DB, I think is the name of it, go completely viral over the weekend. This token went from like 6 cents to $7 in 2 days. It's like crazy taking off. Can you talk a bit about that launch? And that's, I believe, a team out of Israel that is quite legit. They're working on some really interesting AI database stuff. Can you talk about that launch a bit?
Sure. Actually, that launch, they didn't come from any like approach from our side. It came by itself. So I have a communication with the founder, but not a lot of stuff, to be honest. So I cannot give a lot of info, but yeah, it's real because some people ask me, is it real? It's not. I do have a communication with the founder. So I don't know. So yeah.
Well, you should send them our way and we can get the full shakedown for everybody. We'd love to have that conversation.
Yeah. Congrats on getting that organically. That's amazing. And a great eco leader. And if you understand their technology, please let us know. I was trying to figure it out. But
We'll do.
It'll be interesting to, I guess, find how they found you guys, because there might be something there to, I guess, if they found you guys naturally, there's so many options, right? I think Pump Fund obviously being like just the one everyone thinks of. Why did they choose Orinth? I think if you can figure that out, you might be able to hammer that in.
I mean, we are more Web2 friendly in a way. About it. If you go to Pump Fund and you go to Orinth and you check them side by side, if you're a builder, where are you going to list if you don't know you don't know where to list? If you think about it, because it's a more like the UI that we have, it's much more cleaner for somebody that has a product. They see other products. It makes sense for them to list there. So the UI really plays a lot of importance in my opinion.
And we have Pi in the waiting room. We'll get them in a second. But Giannis, want to ask you a question about Solana, just why you launched this on Solana, why you use Meteor as well. Can you just talk about kind of the underlying infrastructure here?
Sure. Solana, I was a trader myself. I always was in Solana. So that was the number one option in my head. I knew like Solana was popping back in like a year ago. And it's still, there's a lot of people trading on Solana. So that was the reason. And Meteora, because like it was the quickest way to get to production and actually make revenue. So, and we have a lot of support from them and they're really great people, really easy to work with as well when we have any question or stuff like that. So yeah, that's, both of the reasons.
Very cool. And is it Giannis or Giannis? Sorry, it's
Giannis. In Greek, it's Giannis.
Giannis, don't you know the basketball player?
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo, yeah.
Well, you said Giannis, Josh. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I know. I was probably, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, okay. Nonetheless, we have an ongoing debate, Josh and I, who can pronounce names better. Oftentimes it's Josh, but I had to,
all right, taking a dub. Oh, gotcha.
It's only because I know my boy Giannis. You know what I'm saying? All right,
but Giannis. It's been an amazing conversation here so far. Nice and we'd love to get you back on the show, as you guys continue to build out and continue to expand your network and build out your platform. definitely would love to get some of your to cover your ecosystem. So as other launches come, as bigger teams come on board, feel free to send them our way. We'd love to highlight them on MCG.
We'll do. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
All right, Giannis, catch you later.
Bye. Thank you guys. Bye.
Yes, I also knew it was Giannis because of the basketball player, by the way.
Well, also saying Giannis is like saying Aaron, it's one in the same.
Oh my god,
I'm kidding.
We're terrible. We're terrible.
It's like calling it Nan bread. Okay, come on, guys.
Well, guys, we have our next interview coming up here.
Yeah, can we tee this one up? Because these guys, I think, have done really great too.
Yeah, they've done absolutely amazing. I'll let Dom go ahead.
I'll tee it up. Although, like, my information is kind of low on this one.
I can tee it up if you want.
Well, yeah, if you got more than I got, go ahead.
Okay. So guys, if you guys remember, about 2 weeks ago on our Friday Trader Radio, we came across AllPi and we said, what the heck is this? This seems like deep tech. And we did the full deep dive on AllPi on stream. What did we discover? We discovered that the outputs from Pi were equivalent to the two other frontier models. Now, they don't compete in terms of just like absolutely raw intelligence. What they do compete in, though, is giving you a comparable output that's cheaper with faster inference, and it outperforms some of the other frontier models in certain metrics, as you can see here on screen. And we've talked a little bit about the product itself. We know that the team has been highlighted. They're a team coming out of India, and there was a larger news network that actually covered them as well in India. I believe they have like 17 million followers on Twitter or something crazy like that. So absolutely GigaBrain team here. Here's the Forbes India coverage as well. So obviously this isn't just this isn't just a no-name founder. These are folks with
Forbes,
a background.
India, I love that.
Yeah,
under 30, man. Love to see it.
So let's get up the Pi team. I want to talk about their model. I want to talk about what they're building and their vision as far as where they see this standing against other frontier models.
And you know what's interesting? This conversation is perfectly timed because we see OpenRouter just had a massive raise recently. They closed on a massive raise. I forget the exact valuation, but it's hundreds of millions, I believe. They closed on a massive raise, and we're seeing a lot of people start to decide to use, different models providers other than just like the big ones, OpenAI, ChatGPT, or OpenAI, Anthropic. We're starting to see people kind of lean towards this decentralized model. It's becoming a lot more popular. So they're building in the right direction. Great tee up, by the way, Chill. With that being said, let's pull up the team here. Rajat and Craig. Josh, maybe you try pronouncing the names.
You did great. Welcome, guys.
Hey, guys. How are you all?
Welcome. Craig, are you with us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, Rajat. Chirag, can you hear us as well?
Yeah, we can. Thank you for the introduction, guys. It's Rajat, and we have Chirag with me, who's also my co-founder. But yeah, you kind of tried, right?
Yeah, don't even. I said Craig. Don't even give me any flowers for that. Are you guys on the same microphone, or should I keep Chirag's profile up here?
No, we are on different microphones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chirag, can we get a mic check from Chirag real quick? Just want to make sure. Okay, looks like he dropped off. So maybe he'll rejoin. Perhaps he's having some mic issues here. But we'll bring him back up here in a little bit. Yeah, he said he couldn't hear us, so he'll be joining here in just a moment. But Rajat, it's a pleasure to have you here on stream with us. Thank you so much for joining today. Like you heard in the tee up here, Pi was a project that we stumbled upon just a few weeks ago. Didn't realize that you guys were even in the Orinth ecosystem, but we had Orinth on earlier today. We got a sense to talk about kind of where you guys are building, and excited to dive into it with you guys right now. I mean, talk to us a little bit about yourself before we get into product, what you're building, the model, and all the good things about it. Let's start with you, who you are, and get a little bit about your background.
Sure, man. Thank you for having us, honestly. And I think it's a great platform to talk about the project and what we have been building. So I'm Rajat, CEO and co-founder of 169 Pi, and with me, Chirag. He'll probably join in a few minutes. And we are an
Yeah,
AI
hey guys.
infrastructure company. Yeah, he's here. As I was saying, we are an AI infrastructure company out of Mumbai, India, and we build AI that actually deploys and run anywhere, not just in someone else's cloud. And that was the whole idea why we were building it. And but if I talk about myself, I've been in tech from last many years. My background is engineering, only computer science, and then I worked with different organizations. I worked with Netflix at some point, then worked with Snapchat also on the product side. Later, we were running a blockchain firm only, and we were selling it in North America and majorly. And we build multiple chain for different clients. So we understand this market since 2019, 2020, and that's where we discovered Ornith also, and it was kind of aligned with what we've been building and the whole distribution side which we wanted to. So this is how this whole thing came in the picture. And if I talk about the Pi token is how we are aligning our community developer and users around this mission. Uh, we started 169 Pi about 2 years ago. The founding insight was simple. Most AI like today live in someone else's data center, and that was the problem as everybody was seeing. And if you are a government, a bank, and a hospital or any regulated market, you can't send your data to OpenAI server. You probably need AI that run on your own infrastructure, and that's what we built. That's what our focus was, because we were seeing a lot of problems since we come from the regulated market earlier, and especially if you like we all are in this crypto industry, and how decentralization make a lot of sense, and why the privacy is one of the major concerns, especially for the BFSI industry, the banking industry, right? And we saw that opportunity, that what if we can run these AI inside our ecosystem, inside our parameter, where you don't have to send your data outside. And that was the problem we knew people will start facing at some point. And that was the whole idea to build 169 Pi and the AlPi models. And this is how we started it. So yeah, I think while we were building it, I think the whole thing was that how to build this, because we didn't have that amount of capital at this point, and building models need huge capital, right? That was the whole problem we were seeing it. So the whole idea was that how about we build quantized model. Like at this point, most of the model, especially in 2022, 23, we were seeing the models were usually 32-bit and then F16-bit. And we thought, can we quantize the model and took it to 4-bit, 1-bit, 2-bit, because that will be the game changer. That will something where we can touch the edge AI, physical AI, how we can run these model on our phones also, right? That's how the future look like. And we already started seeing some sort of adoption also. So this was the whole idea, that can we quantize the model. But the problem was there was not much work on quantization at that point. And there was some research paper, obviously, but nobody has built a model, a complete model or a huge model like how we were building it, like a 32 billion scale model and quantize it, and 70 billion model and quantize it.
So Rajat, real quick, if I can just cut in here, because we try to dig in as much as we can and learn as much as we can, but unfortunately we're not tech minds, and so I want to see if for the audience we can break down a few terms and a few concepts. First off, the quantization side. This is a little bit of digging that we did on stream. But for those that aren't familiar, can you explain quantization and and how that relates to your project?
Sure thing. I would really like Chirag to answer this, as he's been closely working on this also. And then I can probably explain it in someone who's a 5-year-old kid. And first we can
Sure.
talk about the technical term. Chirag, can you please go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, I think sorry for my throat been sick a bit lately, but happy to be here and happy to meet you guys. So I think the way quantization works is, you already know that, most of the things that have been on the computer, they have been working on 16-bit, 32-bit, and the more the bits you increase, the more computing processing you can do parallelly. So that's also one of the reasons how GPUs work. But we realized that it will be one of the huge problems as the models were becoming trillion parameters or larger. So what we realized is that in a country like India or any other country where GPUs are not so available, they're pretty scarce. So what we thought was that we need to quantize these models such a way.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we lost him there.
Okay, I'll cover it for him. Sorry, guys. So basically, as he was mentioning, there's a lot of scarcity we were seeing of GPUs, right? And then US government came with a restriction that you will get a limited GPU every country, like only US can have it. And then we saw the restriction on China first, and then there's a restriction came on different countries that you cannot have unlimited GPUs, and we cannot build it fast also. That was a major issue everybody was seeing. That was the first thing. And another thing was that there was a sovereignty issue which everybody was facing, that how we can have something in our parameters. So if I tell you in quantization something in a very simple language, like suppose there's a school kid who go to school with n number of books every day, like in his school bag, and what if I put all those books in just one iPad? So the knowledge is still same, but now the weight is less, right? I mean, so that's how the quantization works, that we maintain the accuracy, the quality of the model, but we made it so small that it can run easily or it can be portable anywhere. That was the whole idea behind it, what we were working on.
And so is
that's
the
how
main
quantization-
number here is the parameters. So you see these like 30 billion parameter models, 60 billion parameter models. Is
Right.
that what you've made the optimization on? Is like you can have large parameter models, but they still work quickly or can be trained quickly?
Exactly. So suppose there's a 32 billion model which OpenAI is running or Anthropic is running, and they'll probably running that same model on n number of GPU, probably 100 GPU or 60 GPUs, right? And we can do similar tasks on probably 1 or 2 GPU. So the efficiency is still same, but they'll be cutting the dependency of the GPU here first. And the coming model which we'll be working on, like even if you try Alpine Core, if you have a nice probably a good MacBook M5 chip, you can still run the model in your laptop only. So you don't need the GPU also, because
Right. Is it
laptops are quite
for
powerful.
is it for running the model and training, or just running the model?
Well, it's just for running the model, not for training. But again, like when we are quantize these model, or we are coming up with new models, and this will be a 2-bit model, and we are working on another 4-bit model. So even when you're training these model, you don't need that amount of GPU. While how these other companies are building the models, where they need thousands of GPU to train one simple model.
Darth has a great question. Quantization can result in loss of accuracy, especially from 16 to 4. Have you observed loss of accuracy?
Exactly. So that was the challenge when we were building this. So initially, our 22 model failed actually in 2024 when we were building this, and we were experimenting with few scientists from Switzerland, some from India, and there was few people were sitting in US also. So we collaborated with different scientists, and that was the whole task, that how to quantize it and still make sure the accuracy is still 100%, 99, 95%, right? So that was the whole goal. So yeah, that was the challenge everybody faced, and nobody took this, that we cannot quantize the model. Why? Because the problem they were seeing that it will there will be a lot of loss of accuracy, right? So that's the whole thing which we picked, and we released our technical paper and the whole research on top of that, that how we achieve this. And that was the whole beauty about it, that why we were selected for different programs, and how we reached out to these conglomerate and Fortune 500 who started liking the kind of work we were doing, and they wanted to try our models inside their ecosystem.
Okay, so you guys basically, through this quantization process, you made your model lighter, where you need less GPUs to train and to run it, and so it's a more efficient. You found a way to kind of fix the accuracy issue going from 16 to 4-bit quantization. So what's the success that you guys have seen so far? Whether it is, adoption, traction, product market fit, are there a growing number of, developers that use the model? What's come out of all of this, this work that you guys have done to make this model light, efficient, and cheaper to use?
Sure thing. So basically, we have two sides of the business. First is our model and deployment infrastructure. We train model, compress them down to run on smaller hardware, deploy them in air-gapped private environment. And second is Alpi, our AI workspace product, which you were using it, right? So as I was telling you, like the model is also running inside Alpi, the chat assistant, which you've been using it. And then there's a B2B side of it where usually enterprises or government or BFSI want to have these model and fine tune their data on top of it and build their own agents, right? So that's how the initial thing when we were doing it, we picked the B2B side because we wanted the validation that if this model actually work or not. So far, I think the model is live from we made one of the model open source also. We have multiple model, few are closed model, and then there's a few model which is there's one model which is open source right now, and there's a great traction on it actually. So if you go on a Hugging Face right now, there's 800 plus download on the model. We made a lot of our data public also. There's 11,000 download on that. And if I talk about our API platform, so we saw so far more than 10,000 people have taken the API. We provide free 5 million token of our API, and they've been using it successfully. And we've got pretty great success on the business side, on the B2B side, because there's a lot of adoption we are seeing of our model. Because the whole story, what we tell to people, 169pi, the deployable AI company, like we can deploy the model wherever you want, whether you want on your cloud, whether you want in your parameter, whether you want on your edge devices. That's what we've been focusing on. So
this B2B side, is this, and I think in a lot of markets where connection is not great, maybe the device, you're using smartphones rather than people's like gaming computers. Is the B2B sales, are these like enterprises to use internally, or are these like telco, like carrier networks that say, hey, we want to give all our users AI tools right out of the box, not have to charge them a $30 OpenAI subscription. And now, if you buy our, monthly feature phone or whatever in rural India, for instance, you now also get AI as well. Like, is that the market you're trying to go after for these kind of light, light models?
There are different sides of it. I'll give you a few examples. So as we work with different kind of enterprises, so you kind of said it right. Like if I tell you a few use cases, an example here, there are a lot of few government who's been working with us and where they wanted to deploy inside their infrastructure. Why? Because they don't want their data to go out, or they don't want to run anything on OpenAI or Anthropic, right? Because the data is going outside. That was the first use case where they built their own agents on top of our model, right? So here there's some sort of enterprises who's building it for their internal ecosystem. They're creating their own knowledge base on top of these model. And then the second side is where there's companies who's been providing it for their 50,000 employees, because India has a huge audience. There's a great population here, and then so the adoption is going to masses, and then there are companies who's picking our model and the Alpi, the internal Alpi, they're integrating, and then they're giving it to their employee and creating the knowledge base. That's what the one of the side they've been doing it. And then there is a third side. If I give you an example, of suppose there's a banking. There's a bank there, and then they manage a very private data of clients, right? And like there's a different type of client they have, HNI, UHNI, and then the normal consumers also, right? So they how to maintain that data and obviously keep training that data to basically build some sort of system where they can target these users personally. Because what people would want from their system or AI, how to go more how to build more personalization system to target them and provide better services, right? So that's what they've been building it, or they are training their own data and fine tuning the model again and again, because there are type of companies who have to train their model every 48 hours. Why? Because they've been managing a lot of consumer, and to give them that personalization feel like a Rexig, like how Meta does it. So they've been doing similar kind of things on top of that also, so that they have to train their data again and again, and these are the kind of use cases. And then we have Alpi, which is available for the general public, right? And we are seeing a lot of adoption.
So hold on, just on the B2B government side. So to confirm, when you say government, is this like a regional government? Is this the government of India? What is the government?
Yeah, so there's a regional government involved, and now we are also, like, I can't name it, but we have been also talking to few government from different countries also now. We have a lot of neighbor, and then they are also exploring AI, and there's a lot of adoption we are seeing in Southeast Asia right now.
Of course,
And Middle East is definitely the one of the biggest market at this point, where they are experimenting on AI. And so we also talking to a few different governments also.
That's great. And what's the business model? Do you charge them per inference call or per request? Like how do you guys make money doing this?
So there are different type of models here. Usually, there's we've been so on the B2B side, the model is mostly like the annual contract value for which usually we pick, and then there's a demand from the client side. That's where the token comes in the picture. But obviously, the token price is lesser than these other model, which you see the larger model, because these are the quantized models. So we can obviously play on the token, and obviously we our token price is still lesser than the other model. So that is one of the thing. And then there's a B2C side where anyone can go on our playground and buy the API directly.
Okay, so they can access the API, and I didn't hear if there's a subscription or not. I was just wondering if you were getting paid, or how you're getting paid.
So if you click on sign in right now, and there's an API platform you see, right? So anybody can go here, and once you log in, so we provide 5 million free token initially, and once you and after that, anybody can take the purchase the API on base whatever the kind of money they want to put, and then accordingly they get that amount of tokens. Suppose someone want to charge for $20, anybody want to charge for $100, that's totally up to them, and they can buy the API.
Yeah, and Chill, feel free to break in, but maybe pivoting to the token itself. Can you?
That was my next question. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about this token? So you launched on Orinth, which we actually just had the founder on just before you. But can you just talk a bit about that token launch, and then what the token represents in this product?
Sure. So let me be direct about the Pi. Is and isn't actually. So we are a product company first. We are a research company first. The token exists to create an ecosystem around a real working product, not the other way around. The token launched after we trained models. We had live deployments. We had real clients and actual users. We didn't launch a token and then go looking for a product. It was the other way around. So how the token fits in, Pi is designed to be coordination layer for the 169 Pi ecosystem and Alpi. So basically for developers building on our infrastructure, for users inside Alpi, and for community contributor. And so this is how the whole idea was, to introducing Pi to create that ecosystem and open the other distribution channel for us. And because we knew we had the real value to provide to the people, as we see the way we have seen the token maxing term getting very popular, and the way people has been. So as we are seeing, people are literally exhausting their token, and the cost is increasing day by day, where the adoption is also increasing, but we need to also see that there need to be a limit of like how much a user will spend. Like an enterprise spending is fine, but a freelancer or developer might not spend that much, right? But they also want to build things on top of it, right? And experimenting it. And China is already breaking the market for all of us as they are coming with more and more open source model, right?
Right. And so what does the token represent? Does the token, when I buy the Pi token, am I getting, ownership over the business via equity? Is it used in the product? Is it represent the IP in some way? Like how you talk about this ecosystem of different products and services, and congratulations for having traction and backing a token into it. I think that's why your tokens performed quite well, as people have figured that out. But maybe just talk to me of like, if you guys generate revenue at some point, do you foresee buying back with a portion of that revenue? Just give me an idea of how you see the token playing a role here.
So we are currently testing real utility mechanics, and we are not rushing to bolt on tokenomics that don't make sense, honestly, to us. When we have real the enough users data, we'll publish a formal ecosystem policy covering treasury structure, how collected Pi is handled, and any support mechanism. But as of now, if you are a part of our ecosystem, if you are if you own Pi, you basically get a small part of our product basically. And what we are integrating right now, and probably we are already started testing it, so user will be able to get the access of our new model first hand, because we've been already showing some results of our new model. That is the first thing. But the another thing is they can get the access of our model through the token instead of purchasing it through other mechanism. And then second is we are integrating inside Alpi also, as we are seeing the Alpi market is growing, and now we're going to limit few features for the, of course, the subscribed users. So that's what we've been working on. So this is what at this point the users will be, and we are taking a measured approach here. No pump, no dump, no hype. We want the token value to reflect what the product actually delivers, because that's really important for us. Because as we are seeing a long-term picture, and the way we've been working with a global client, and we are closing some Fortune 500, we are seeing the market is more opening for these kind of model which we've been working on. So there's more and more value we are adding in the product already. So the great side, if you see for the token holder, the kind of access they'll get with these model, which will be I can say will be a different kind of game only for them. As of now, we are what they can do on Alpi is I would say still probably 50-60% what we have been doing inside Alpi.
Really quick, one last question for me on the token. How much of the token do you currently own yourself, and is it locked in something like Streamflow or vesting? Like, what does the overall token ownership structure look like today?
So our ownership is pretty less, and that was purposely we did that. The ownership is somewhere around 1.5% at this point, and we plan to increase the ownership, but not much. Why? Because we want to be more focused on the product side, and like I said, we are coming up with a policy where we'll have a treasury, and where we'll make sure that whatever we are earning through this token, we'll put in the product, and with that only we plan to add our supply, our ownership, rather than where we focus on more supply side, because I think that's where the trust comes, and it's very important for us, where our user have the trust on us.
Go ahead, Chill. Yeah, I'm good on cues.
Yeah, have you guys what about the funding side? Have you been approached by VCs, or have you
maybe there was a good technical question there actually, if you want to ask this one, Chill.
Yeah, let's talk about Darth Inferno's question. I think Alpi Core is based on DeepSeek R1, their model. So will you upgrade your model with the later versions of DeepSeek models?
So we are coming up with more different model, honestly. The first thing is we'll upgrade it, but at this point there's a new model coming in probably in a month, and that will be a game changer model from 169pi and Alpi. This model is basically showing a very strong result on the SWE bench and on the HLE bench, which is very important for the users and the kind of task it can perform. So there's multiple models has been planned in the pipeline, and we are also working on the foundation model now. So there's a lot of research going on with a different team, and 169pi is continuously hiring more people at this point and increasing the research side. And we are working on this from the with some people from Bay Area also already, as we are increasing our partnership in different countries. So we are partnering with more scientists at this point, applied scientists, AI research scientists, to make these model better and actually not dependent on any even any different model also, where we can have our own model, proprietary model also. That's what we've been working on. So this is something you will see super soon.
Got it. And just last question here on the funding side. What what's your runway looking like? As a team, not sure how much you guys have made so far, whether it is from fees, from like whether it's trading fees on Ornth or revenue from the product. What's your runway looking like, and how long can you guys operate?
So we are pretty much secure on that side. We are in active conversation with institutional investor. We are leading with our AI infrastructure story, the deployable AI thesis. So this something already has been planned here, and so the burn is pretty high, but similarly, we already working on the revenue as we are closing more and more deal with on the B2B side with different enterprises and the government. And we are working on our policies also at this point of time, and the team is growing. But so if I tell you from the Ornith platform, whatever the fees come, actually it's not going to help for us, because usually a single GPU costs us $60,000, and we are trying to buy more GPU, right? Because we want to have these GPUs inside our ecosystem, only inside our parameter, rather than being on cloud, because that will give us more power. So that's what we've been working on, and so far we've partnered with I mean, I don't know, but we are almost partnered with every possible GPU company who can provide us, because we are trying to buy more and more, because the current model which we are training, also there's a training ongoing training already in the process, and probably should be done by mid-July. So there's a good amount of burn in the company, but accordingly, we are seeing good traction on the product side. There are people who are already showing interest on the API, and then the B2B side is pretty strong for the company. As the product, what people loving about us is the product. Actually, the reports are pretty real. The results are reproducible. Whatever the benchmark we claim, they are reproducible on Hugging Face also. So that's where the confidence comes. And so I mean, we are trying to close more and more deals also on the product side, and definitely funding is something which we are working on, and probably you'll hear something soon. That's
and so I want to get to this question, because I think for we're a US based trading show, and I think for North American investors, they're looking to India and saying, hey, this is a massive market, one of the most populous countries. Every person has at least one device in the country, or mostly. And something like this is, this is a problem you guys experience uniquely, is how do you serve up AI services on those type of devices and with that type of connectivity? And I think this seems like there's a solution here. And so I'm just wondering if you can kind of really dig into this Darth Inferno question that's on screen. Has Alpi Core been tested for on-device AI on typical Android phones used in India?
Okay, so I'll give you an actual picture of India and the mobile ecosystem in India. So as of now, most of the Indians have phones, the great part is we already have a great connectivity, the 5G. Reliance is one of the major player, Reliance Jio, and then there's Airtel, and there's one which is Vodafone and Idea when they merge together. So there are three major players, and the connectivity is great. And I'll tell you the crazy part: the cost is way too cheap. So almost if you see the TikTok market or Reels market, Instagram market, there's full of Indians, right? They're making videos all day actually. So the market is growing for us day by day at this point. That's really good. And if you see the OpenAI market, their second biggest market right now is India actually. Meta's biggest market is India actually, after Brazil, and then second is Brazil, and then US, right? So India is a very substantial, very important market for US at this point, because and then Anthropic recently opened their office in Bengaluru, and they are trying to increase their market here also, because the adoption is really good. And I'll tell you the next crazy part: the iPhone sale has been increased massively in India, because what are the plans they cover, the EMI plan, the other sort of plans. And so if you see Indian generation is Indian population is the most young generation at this point in the world, and if you see, most of them are holding iPhone at this point, and we already tested an iPhone 17 Alpine. The new model, not Alpine Core, and because the new model hold more power. So Alpine Core doesn't run on device, and that was not the goal of it. It was basically for bigger enterprises. But the new model which is coming is already able to run on device, different kind of devices, even on the Android devices. We already tested on the Samsung Galaxy also, and iPhone 17. We are trying to test it on more devices, but
maybe to ask the question this way, I mean, can everyone in India afford a $30, OpenAI subscription, or do you see there's a segment of the market that you guys can capture and win at?
No, I don't think so. Everybody can afford a $20-$30 plan here, and that's where OpenAI came with a strategy where they made the ChatGPT free for India for first 1 year. But then still there are a lot of users dropping. Probably I don't know why, but people are trying different product right now, and Alpine is coming out of one of the product where people are also moving at this point. So the pricing plan definitely work different here. It cannot be similarly how we see it on in the US market or the European market. There's definitely a good amount of audience, the new India, who's have definitely part of the $20 plan, $30 plan, and we are seeing the good adoption. But then there's another India where we have people who would prefer a plan of $5, $10, and since we are a quantized company, we can afford that easily.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to understand, is what part of the market you're addressing. And maybe to last question here, and we have 1 minute to answer this, but the next guest, Squire, is working on like cloud inference, or people can buy resell and buy AI tokens from each other. I'm wondering, if people want extra AI tokens, can they buy that from you, or do they buy that from someone else?
Honestly, the thing is, at this point, there's no proof of concept on this thing. I mean, they're very small market, right? Because I'm not sure will other company allow this also or not, right? Even if you're buying token, I'm not sure. I haven't seen their product, but sounds interesting. But honestly, at this point, I'm not sure how's the adoption on that side, where people would want to try that, because people are pretty, possessive of the tokens at this point, what we are seeing.
Yeah.
So
okay, no worries. I think that's a great, and that's great. Guys, look, I think you have a really interesting perspective. You're in a market that's growing super fast, super young, and we want to stay in touch and follow what you're doing here. So thanks, Rajat, for joining, and to your colleague, Chirag. I'm doing a terrible job. But yeah, we want to keep an eye on this market for sure.
Sure thing. I think you will hear more and more news in coming time, and we have few announcements for coming months. So happy to share that.
Make sure you drop those announcements on MCG really quick. How did you find Orinth? Actually, Chirag found it, and sadly he's not here. So
So he was the one who found Ornith initially, and then he told me that I think we should be on Ornith, and I was like, then I checked their platform. It was quite interesting the way they have come up with the whole strategy and made it so easy actually, and that was what that was needed here. This is how it all started. The plan was different because we were going Singapore first and plan to start it from there, the whole token size, but then Ornith come in the picture and it did a great job for us.
Perfect. All right, we got to wrap it there. Maybe post something on X so people know, and we'll highlight it. All right, thanks guys. All right.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, sounds good. See ya.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Chill, you want to tee up the next? And I got to hop off here, so I'm going to let my guy Dom jump back on here.
Yeah, 100%. Great interview with the guys from Pi. And we'll do some takeaways from these interviews after our Squire interview. We got our guy, Chris. You guys know the thesis, and peace out, Josh. Love you, bro. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we have our guy, Chris, coming up from Squire. We had Squire on a few times already. Inference capital markets, right? Something that's really interesting, a big thesis to dig into. Obviously, inference is something needed by every AI model, and through Squire you can kind of buy and sell inference, and there's a lot to dig into when it comes to Squire, because they're even kind of extending the reach that Venice has into Solana, because you can then you can sell your tokens or your inference that you get through VVV. You can sell that on the Squire marketplace. So much to dig into. Can't wait to get Chris up here. So we'll talk about some interesting updates that he has coming for Squire here in the future. So let's go ahead and get Chris up.
Hey guys,
Chris, welcome back. How's it going?
Wonderful. Glad to be here. Glad to see both of you again.
How are things going? I mean, the last time we had you on, we got the full breakdown, and we're gonna do a little bit of breaking down for those who are just like not familiar with Squire. But I think mostly today is like an update conversation. You said there's a lot new, a lot of exciting stuff. How's it going?
Yeah, it's been a crazy 4 weeks. I think it's only been 4 weeks. Yeah, we've rolled out a tremendous amount of updates in the past month. Introducing new models. We incorporated the Hermes model. Anthropic's Opus 4.8 came out. We had supported that on day one. Fable came out. We supported that on day one. Kimi K2.7, Minimax M3, GLM 5.2, all released and incorporated into the UsePod ecosystem. And we just announced today that there's a partnership with UsePod and the Compute network, which will be coming on, I think, your pod on Thursday.
Yep.
So lots of things rolling out, in these models. The great thing is that every time we roll out a new model, everybody that's using UsePod right now, something like 5,000 agents on Clawpump alone, immediately get new functionality available to them, with just the wave of a finger. In addition to the models that we've rolled out, we're also supporting new providers. So we've got an integration with Surplus, with Jativo. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Jativo or something, yeah.
Yeah, News Research we support on the back end for our Bring Your Own Keys. And as I mentioned, the Compute network for private, uncensored model access. And people have just been building and building and building on top of us. So I mentioned Clawpump and their 5,000 agents. Seeker Claw, Repo is building their orchestra to natively support UsePod. Causa Layer, Alpha Arena, 8Layer, HiveMind OS, Claw Hunter, they're all building on top of UsePod, and this is just what's happened since the last time we talked.
Is this you're doing, or are they seeing this? Hey, Solana native, ecosystem project that's doing the inference markets here. They have the marketplace. Let's just go build. Or are you going and individually evangelizing to all of these people? Because you just rattled off like 20 partnerships.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on which one you're talking about. For a lot of the people building on top of UsePod, it's, self-service. Come use our product. Use the cheap, durable inference. And if you want to reach out and say hi, I'm happy to kick a couple of free inference credits your way to ease the transition.
Well, Chris, clearly this seems like your first time building a business here. You're struggling to make partnerships and relationships. Maybe do me a favor here, Chris. And for those that are unaware, we're going to have to get your background and get a quick TLDR on the project here. But I'm really curious if anything's changed since the last time we talked to you. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Do us a favor. Start with yourself, with your background. Maybe tell us about if there's been any companies you started in the past, what qualifies you, and then we'll get into, I guess, the rest of the conversation.
For sure. Yeah. So for folks that haven't had an interaction with me before, I'm Chris Gilbert. I've been an engineer for 26 years. I found Bitcoin in 2010, started mining back when the only thing you could mine with was a CPU. Did that for a while, started building applications on top of Bitcoin, started trading, doing some algorithmic trading on Bitcoin. At the time, the only place to do that was Mt. Gox. So that didn't turn out too terribly well for me. But nonetheless, I stayed in the crypto space. Ethereum came out, I'd say 2015, 2016. I read the white paper, read the yellow paper. Didn't really understand it. Didn't really do the deep dive until 2017. I was working at an S&P 500 company, leading an engineering team for their flagship SaaS product, and went down the rabbit hole. Got into crypto, got into Ethereum, started building networks, started building enterprise blockchain at my company. Did that for a couple of years, looked around. Everybody who was building in Web3 was filthy rich. Everybody who was building in enterprise blockchain was not.
What a time.
And so I left my 10,000 person multinational to go work for a 20-person startup called TokenSoft. While I was there, I was doing SEC compliant token sales, or securities offerings on chain. Did that for about a year, and then I met my co-founder at my last company, Elixir. Philip and I set out to disintermediate market making, and so over the course of 4 years, we built a protocol called the Elixir Network to deploy capital via a decentralized distributed protocol, algorithmically trading via consensus across at times 20,000 nodes or more. Did that for a handful of years, launched a synthetic dollar on top of that trading system called DUSD. That hit something like 350 million TVL. And then wound most of those down over the course of 6 months, ending in March of last year, or of this year, rather.
I want to kind of get into your background and takeaways, because you do have a very significant background in business and entrepreneurship. What made some of your past ventures so successful? And how are you going to, I guess, pull that over into Squire and continue to, I guess, grow this company?
Yeah. I mean, one of the big things that people need to realize is that you can't choose the market that you're developing in. Like, you may look at the Bitcoin charts right now and say, oh, everybody's down bad. I was fundraising at my last company during the Terra Luna collapse. Like, VCs were calling up, having already committed checks, saying, we can't actually write this check because we don't know if we have the capital kicking around. And so you just got to put your head down and build. Like, build, keep shipping, and just ride it out. And so you can't time the market. I mean, you just, as a builder, you're not timing the market. You're building, you're shipping, and you're evangelizing your own product. So I think that's probably the biggest takeaway is put your head down, do the hard work, even when, there's no clean, there's no end in sight.
Yeah. I mean, and you're doing the hard work and you choose to get into the compute world. What was that moment where you knew this was something that you needed to jump into and start building around? And obviously we talked about this last time, but it's been very validating. I think lots of people have started to have these conversations. What was that moment for you where you were like, okay, this is the market?
Yeah. So I would say I started going down the AI rabbit hole 2 years ago, interacting with chatbots, really just tinkering around with ChatGPT, free tier, and then paid plan and tinkering with the Google's Gemini or Bard before that, right? And somewhere I'd say about 8 months ago, it was like somebody flipped a light switch, and these agents went from semi-coherent chatbots to legitimately useful tools for all sorts of development activities. And it was right around then, I'd say October, November of last year, I started going down the rabbit hole, started using them, started integrating them into my day-to-day development work. Started, hearing things from my employees like, oh, all of a sudden these things are super useful. And so, yeah, when I see a dramatic shift in a market like that, that's when my ears perk up.
Start paying attention. How's the thesis changed? I mean, back when you started having this idea to today, where now you got a full-fledged product, 5,000 agents are using it. Many other partnerships, are in the pipeline and currently, sealed and secured. Has the thesis changed at all or evolved since you started this?
Yeah, I mean, so the thesis falls into, two categories. One is the short term, which is we need a liquid marketplace for price discovery on these inference tokens. You can't have a monopoly where one party says this is the price and there's no competition there. And so that thesis that, buying and selling, creating a liquid market for inference, for AI compute, and really coining the term inference capital markets, that is the initial thesis, right? We need to have liquid capital markets for AI inference and AI compute. And the longer term understanding of that is that AI compute is not just inference, right? It is the entire stack. It is everything from the model that's running down to the hardware it's running on in a location, with the power source and the HVAC system or cooling. Like everything in that stack is part of that AI compute stack. And so really trying to broaden the idea of what inference capital markets mean to incorporate that entire stack.
Great. And so now you're building this marketplace. And I think really early public traction was from the Venice token. Of course, everyone, I think, hopefully is familiar with the Venice token, what they're doing around staking and owning $1 a token a day gives you, or a token a day gives you $1 in inference per day. And we've seen that a lot of these people had a surplus of inference they just didn't use. And I think, we saw yourself and others come around where they're like, well, let's just get these people to sell their, excess inference here and they can make some extra money off it because it goes away after a day if you don't use it. Was that how you guys got your start? Of course, there's Surplus, another one you guys said you have a partnership with, I believe. And that's how they got their start. Was yours similar?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I had a bunch of inference tokens kicking around. I wasn't using them every day. And so, very early on, I was like, oh, I'd just love to resell these, make a small amount of cash and distribute them to, holders of the Squire token. And so that's what we did. And then eventually incorporated that into UsePod and allowed the holders of the Squire token to resell that again on this liquid marketplace.
So you're a user of Venice? Like you own Venice or you stake or?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. And so is it okay to ask how much? Or is that too?
Probably did really well. I'll tell you that much.
I don't want to doubt myself.
Gotcha. No. 100%. Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, no. I mean, so you have these other projects that are doing something similar, in terms of staking compute. You guys kind of got your start this way as well. Maybe just give people an idea if they haven't picked it up at this point, what it is you're building in terms of inference capital market, what that actually looks like.
Yeah. So UsePod from its current standpoint, you come in having already developed a agentic pipeline. Maybe you're using OpenAI API keys. Maybe you're integrated with OpenRouter. you can come in and with one line of code change, drop in UsePod into your existing workflow, and essentially get the same AI capacity, the same compute, the same model at a very steep discount. Our users on average are saving 70% on their APIs. We've got about $1,800 worth of excess compute capacity a day right now that you could tap into as a user. And so, a one-line change in your code, you get the same workflow, you get a steep discount, and you're guaranteed to come out ahead at the end of the month.
Can you maybe talk about the trend we're headed in? Because I think that's pretty important to this conversation. Here's the website. You can see discounted inference. You have $1,800 a day. What's the trend you're seeing? I mean, with OpenRouter being so successful, they had a massive raise not long ago. A lot of people are kind of gearing towards this decentralized compute, and I think a lot of smart people have also said, this is the direction we're headed in. And as more people adopt this, it's just going to really continue to snowball and spiral. Maybe from your perspective, what is the trend and where are we in? Of course, it's hard to make these projections, but 6 months, a year from now, who's using what? Who's the average user? What's like the direction and trend we're headed in?
Yeah, I mean, the compute markets are only going to get deeper, bigger and larger. I think you're going to see a tremendous growth in the amount of inference being used, provided everybody is able to find it at the cost that works for them. And so you see this in many markets. You've got the early players come in, they have pricing power because they're the only people in the space. They've got maybe a custom model, they've got a research budget, they can incentivize usage or subsidize usage of their product with deep pockets funded through multiple rounds of venture capital, and then those margins they slowly get whittled away as more and more players come in and start to go against the incumbents. And so what I think you're seeing is a little bit of that start to shake out as companies like OpenRouter say, provide the ability to swap GPT 5.5 for Opus 4.8 on a whim. And you're seeing activity move away from the harnesses, away from the Codex and Claude to things like Hermes and OpenClaw. And so a proliferation of AI compute in a nutshell, and that's going to demand more of the marketplace.
Yeah, recently also we've been seeing a lot of backlash over, like Fable 5 being taken away. We've seen like just a general trend towards decentralized, uncensored models. And of course, OpenRouter and whatnot. You got this message from Anthropic and Claude. I think it's prevalent to our conversation right now, and I think bolsters your thesis a little bit. Can you walk me through what this message was about and what this means exactly?
Yeah. So Anthropic has this problem, which is there's a lot of entrenched automation workflows being used and subsidized by their current billing model. So right now, Anthropic has 3 billing models: a $20, a $100, and a $200 model rate subscription plan. And essentially, you buy into one of those, you get a certain amount of utilization every day, week, and month. And they find that there's a percentage of their users that are dramatically more expensive than the rest of their user base. And so what they tried to do is change their billing plan in such a way that they could capitalize on those heavy users without dramatically impacting the lower tier users. And what they tried to do is essentially bifurcate their billing. So you have this subscription. Anytime you sit down and use the Claude web UI, you use the Claude desktop app, or you use Claude Code, you're going and getting billed one way. But if you have these kind of automation tasks, you're going to get billed through an unsubsidized way. And those, right now are estimated at a 75% revenue generating for them. And so They were going right up, right up until the day. I got this email the day that pricing change was supposed to hit.
Oh, geez.
It's the closest thing to
Cheeky.
an apology you're gonna get from a company, as far as I can tell. Like they were staring right into the beast, and then they blinked at the very last minute. But yeah, essentially they were going to switch to this API billing model for their heavy users. Everybody was going to get a credit to soften the blow. So if you were spending $20 a month on a subscription, you were also going to get $20 in API credits. This would have played right into the hands of UsePod, where all the people that weren't able to utilize those API credits, A, because they weren't doing automation, or B, because they weren't, just heavy users, they could have just easily turned around and sold that directly into the marketplace. And I think that would have led to some poor outcomes for Anthropic.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, and so what does this mean for you guys, I guess, in terms of growth? You said it would have played right into the hands of UsePod. I mean, that's obviously the goal. And this is just an example of, I think, the trend and direction we're seeing. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. But when we kind of talk about your growth and how things have been progressing for you guys, is there anything notable you care to mention? How's growth been over the last couple months, weeks? I guess it's been 4 weeks since we spoke, but how have things been internally?
Yeah, things are going great. We're up about 50% over the last time we talked. In terms of accounts, we're at almost 2,000 accounts that have been registered. We've got over $5,000 worth of credits that have been put down to pre-purchase inference from our marketplace that have as of yet been unused. Again, right, because we're saving people sometimes 97% on their API spend. A little goes a long way. And so, yeah, we're seeing some explosive growth in utilization. Our token usage is, like I said, increased 50%, while our user base is just blowing up.
We see too that you guys have really been expanding your network of partnerships, especially over recently. Walk us through a few that we kind of talked about it very briefly at the beginning, but walk us through some of those partnerships and what those partnerships do that benefits Squire specifically.
Yeah. So each backend provider that we're able to integrate strengthens our network, strengthens UsePod's ability to route traffic reliably, but it also provides more liquidity to the compute marketplace. I know a lot of people don't think about compute as a liquid market, and you say liquidity around compute, people's heads kind of boggle a little bit. But what we're really doing is we're matching supply and demand. We're solving the two-sided market problem by onboarding supply from users like Surplus and Compute. We're putting it into an easily consumable interface that's a one-line change to start consuming, and then we're matching it up with reliable demand. These large players like Clawpump, who are spawning agents left and right.
Can I actually touch a little bit more on that supply demand conversation? And again, just recently we've talked with Surplus, and that seems to be one of the questions we asked them as well. How does the supply and demand factors play into this? It seems like supply is not an issue. You guys can get plenty of supply. It's like sourcing demand that's going to be the thing. And maybe right now that's the case, and maybe this changes in the future. But talk to me about the supply and demand factors here. Where's your head at when it comes to focusing? You obviously have to get both sides of the equation here. But is one outpowering the other? And how are you looking to tackle the opposite side of that, if that question makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a traditional problem in two-sided marketplaces, right? If you're Uber trying to launch in a new city, right, you have to find a bunch of cabbies that want to service your users, and then you have to find a bunch of users in that area that want to use cabs, right? And we're trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to find users that are looking for cheap AI inference. It seems that there's a lot of those kicking around, so my focus has been on the supply side in the short term, and that's why these partnerships are so important. From my perspective, the you can think of this like a SaaS product on this sell side, right? We're selling to users either in a B2B model or a B2B2C model, or maybe even a B2C model. And this makes scaling up that user adoption is just a matter of advertising, ad placement, conversions, whereas building up the supply side is one that requires partnerships, sometimes contracts, and a little bit more overhead there.
So I guess I have two questions that come from this. It's like, number one, what is the prototype of the average user you look for? And maybe it's a wide variety, but I want to understand, who's the average person that's going to come and, use your services. On the other side, I want to know if enterprises are starting to adopt this. Are they hesitant for the time being as it's kind of new? Are we starting to see some level of adoption there? Are they all in on it? So I know it's a two-pronged question. Whichever one you feel like you should answer first, I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. So from UsePod's perspective, there has not been any enterprise adoption in that. I think convincing enterprises to go and onboard with a crypto application, like connect a Solana wallet and deposit into an application, is probably out of the beaten path for most enterprises. That said, we support a credit card onboarding process via Stripe. Dead simple. You don't need a wallet ever to interact with UsePod and buy inference. And so, from that side, super easy to answer. As far as the, I guess our average user, so to speak, right now, these are crypto forward entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or, startup companies that are trying to build agentic workflows into their systems that are probably crypto native or familiar with crypto. Crypto has some great properties for agentic inference, namely that you can buy inference in the same request that you actually use the inference via X402. So you never need to set up an account. You can just with a Solana wallet and an X402 header buy and consume in a single purchase or in a single transaction. And so these crypto forward companies like ClawPump, like Repo, they're building workflows on top of UsePod because it just provides native Rails that works in the tokens that they're already using for the rest of their application, and drops into place where they don't have to hold an account open with OpenAI or top up balances in OpenRouter because there's a crypto native onboarding and on ramp and payment flow that can all be done agentically.
Very nice. Crypto Jones had an interesting question, something we touched on a bit last time. I remember our conversation going like, well, we know VCs are subsidizing a lot of inference costs for, some of these frontier models. And, is there an opportunity to take some of the extra inference that's unused or whatever and sell it for cheaper? And you said, why not? This question kind of leads into that. Chris, is there an opportunity for traders to make money buying inference on the cheap and then reselling it on UsePod? Is this a strategy you've seen? Is this a possibility? Just anything around that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the straightforward ones, which may or may not be cheap, depending on your perspective. But you come in with a Venice, DM allotment, or you're staking 0 to earn credits. You can bring those in and turn that staking position into daily inference or daily revenue. Alternatively, if you have an account on Surplus and wanted to buy up cheap inference when it's cheap there and sell it on UsePod, you're welcome to do that. Every provider that we have on the back end is also supported as a bring your own keys service. So you can easily bring your Jativo, your Morpheus, your Surplus intelligence. You can even bring your OpenAI or Anthropic keys if you've got those subsidized by your employer. You can drop them in and turn those into cash by reselling that inference on the marketplace.
Is this part of the strategy here? Partnering with these communities that offer, I guess, inference for token holders. I mean, you mentioned Zero and Venice, right? Both of which, as far as my knowledge, you can stake a token and you get an allotted amount of inference per day. Is this kind of a strategy that you see, I think, being applicable going forward, where it's like you make good relationships with those communities and basically have UsePod become the go-to place for those communities to operate and sell their excess inference? Is that one of the strategies you guys are implementing?
Yeah, and I think even more broadly than that, it's just beneficial to have liquid markets. It's beneficial for everybody to know what the price of compute should be, AI compute specifically. Having a liquid market where price discovery can happen in real time, so you can understand, what the value of a Qwen, 26 billion model is versus GLM 5.2. Just understanding that data should be important to people, should be important to both AI researchers, market participants, consumers of inference. And so, yeah, I see this as a valuable primitive to the market, and really kind of the point behind why we call it inference capital markets here.
I remember last time we talked about funding a bit, and you mentioned, there's a future where if you want to really scale this up, funding is like on the table. Has there been any more thought or discussion surrounding that, or you're still just kind of working on getting those metrics and user base up and growing?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of thoughts. I'm not going to talk too much about what plans I may take. I try to be pretty hype free in what I talk about. You're going to hear the things that I've delivered, the things that are 100% certain to go out, but you're not going to hear much about speculation or what could happen in the future.
Can we talk a bit more about enterprises? You mentioned there's no current enterprise market using UsePod for the time being. Is this something you want to work towards? Do you see enterprises, I guess, gearing in this direction? Obviously, we know a lot of them can't use these frontier models because they have to have some sort of privacy. And of course, the data goes to the frontier models when they're used. So like a decentralized, maybe even uncensored model, I think is better in a lot of ways for these enterprises. And I'm not sure if they're already kind of gearing in that direction. But how does that offering look for enterprises? Are you officially or at some point looking to scale to enterprise customers, or what's like the thinking behind that? And what does the market even look like there generally?
Yeah. So this is more of a long-term plan. So if you think about what an enterprise wants from a product, right? If you're buying 100 or 1,000 seats of inference, you're going to want things like single sign-on. You're going to want unified billing. You're going to want an account abstraction. You probably have an IT team that wants to do SOC 2 compliance. All of those things are beyond the scope of what are going to get implemented by a bootstrappy startup right now. But that said, the long-term need for these companies is truly private AI inference. And again, that's probably not something that you're going to get from many inference providers, and especially if you're talking about an uncensored, decentralized protocol for AI inference, you're not going to get that SOC 2 compliance for that. You're not going to get the end-to-end verification of private insecure transactions. You're not going to be able to put HIPAA data in there, or FERPA data, right? If you're doing like school-related stuff, and so these enterprises that have kind of dedicated needs for AI inference are going to find themselves in a place where they have to buy that either by building out their own data center or renting AI compute and running their own models. And so long term for UsePod is really to branch out and sell AI compute and not just AI inference. And that goes down the path of buying and selling GPUs, buying and selling B200s or H200s, buying them, contracting for them for periods of time via like a compute futures market. And that's really what I'm starting to build out in the roadmap right now for UsePod is this the extension of that from AI inference to full on AI compute.
Yeah, you know, and kind of a lead on to this conversation as well. Very interesting answer, by the way. Is that private AI conversation? How important is private AI? And is this a trend we also see picking up in the future, where more enterprises, more people, more companies value the privacy behind these protocols they're using?
Absolutely. I mean, enterprises are going to need to have these private compute options available to them. You look at the banking sector, you look at high frequency trading firms, prop desks. You look at healthcare. You look at schools. Like, these are all, like, before you can apply AI to these, you need to have security, you need to have data security, you need to have privacy, and you need to have data sovereignty.
So what are they doing now? Are they just behind? Can they not implement AI because of these, I guess, restrictions or whatever you want to call them? Like, where do they stand? Where do enterprises stand now? Are they just behind the ball?
Well, I mean, enterprises are always behind the ball. Like, like, however long you think it's going to take for institutional adoption, it always takes longer. So for, like, AI is just another of that trend. But yes, enterprises are concerned with this. Some of them are running compute. I mean, ML's been around for a long time. 5-10 years ago, using CUDA to analyze images for X-rays in a diagnostics company. So they're not. Hosting high performance compute is not unusual to them. They have the ability to do it. The question really is going to be, is there going to be another option for them? Is there going to be a drop-in replacement where they can just, instead of spinning up and maintaining a DevOps team that specializes in high performance compute and managing H100s, is there going to be a SaaS platform or an infrastructure as a service platform where they can come in, deploy 1,000 hours of H100 computes, and then blow it up as soon as they're done with their training or whatever they're doing? And so I think that's really where the market's going to be heading, is providing that on demand, push a button, get compute model that most enterprises want.
Excuse me, we have a nice question here in the chat, and I recently saw this as well, so I think this is a perfect question. Have you had any comms with the guys at Venice, as 2 team members recently followed you and one followed SquireBot? Not sure if you have anything there, but just in case.
Internet sleuths are out in full force.
I love it. I love it. I love that people reach out and they're like, oh yeah, so and so followed me. I'm like, really? That's awesome. Right? Sometimes I'm too far, 2 heads down to notice. But yes, the Venice team has reached out to me. We have talked a bit, but again, like, there's nothing major going on there. And even if there was, I wouldn't be talking about it unless it was 100% just about ready to ship out the door.
100%. 100%. I think I'm good here, Dom, unless you have 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, I'm generally good. I just want to get, I think, growth. It's been 4 weeks, so about a month since we last had you on. So, I mean, it's tough to say, but if we even look at month-over-month growth, I'd love to kind of get an idea of where you were 4 weeks ago versus where you are today in terms of users, growing demand, growing supply, all that, all the important stuff.
Yeah. So I can run down some quick numbers. So from a daily inference capacity, we had $250 a day that you could tap into. Last time we chatted, we're up to $1,800 a day that you can tap into. From a token usage perspective, we were doing about 400 million or 400 million a week. And now we're up to 600 million a week. As far as our account setup, we're up about 80% from where we were. And average savings have increased from somewhere around 40% to almost 71%.
Wow. How'd you get those average savings down? That seems to be like a big edge here, right? Who's going to have the best prices? You've got them down from 40 to 70%. That's a huge drop. 71%, excuse me. How do you get them from 71% to 80%? Not, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that is all about onboarding demand, or sorry, onboarding supply. Bringing more people in, adding liquidity to the compute market. Every new integration that we onboard that's supplying to the network is driving down that price for users.
And I guess the question I had was, considering that growth that took place in just a couple of weeks here, is it growing faster than you imagined? Are people catching on quicker than you imagined, or is this just about how you envisioned it?
Yeah, I mean, I've built businesses before. It always feels slow when you're in the thick of it, but also like in hindsight, it's only been 4 weeks. I think founders all experience a certain level of time dilation. You talk to them and you ask them, they talk about features that are on the roadmap as if they're already implemented. They talk about things that they're doing as if, they were done last month. It affects all of us. And so when I'm sitting here looking at it, I feel like everything's moving really slow. But when I put it in a set of bullet points for what happened in the past 4 weeks, I myself am blown away.
You know what? That brings on a very interesting like follow-on question, because we talked earlier and you mentioned resilience, right? Like you're just a heads down builder, you're shipping constantly, and that's really what you're focused on. That's how you built businesses in the past, and that's how you're focused on using that to build Squire, that resilience. But when it comes to building a business with a token, how does that differ, do you think? Or from your experience being on the traditional side, building a traditional company, and now kind of doing this with Squire, is there a difference? Is it the same? Is it just resilience, either way? Or is there a difference there between the two?
Yeah, I mean, the price of the token is probably the least interesting part of the work that I do. Like, I see the value of the token as being validation that the product I'm shipping is valuable to its users. And so from that perspective, I put my head down, I push out good work. I think the things that I'm shipping are delivering tremendous amounts of value to our users. And for my token holders, I feel like that's going to be reflected in the price. And so that's my perspective. Put your heads down, drive value to the product, and then see that value reflected in the token. Because at the end of the day, the token's not the product. I'm not building a token. I'm building a new marketplace for AI compute. And there's a token associated with that. But the token is not the product.
I feel like sometimes when you like the token can act as this sort of distribution engine. So you have this, group of core supporters, and they're now kind of pushing this this inference capital markets narrative. I'm trying to get a view from your standpoint of like how would the growth be if there wasn't that chunk of early supporters actually pushing a narrative and actually acting as a distribution layer. So like, is there a positive effect with having this token? Maybe from a builder standpoint, you might not pay attention to it, but because of these token holders, it's almost like this marketing, this added marketing engine for you. Do you think, I'm trying to get a sense of, is it different to be a token, a founder with a token? Is it better, worse? Does it push your narrative or your product forward faster? What do you think?
I mean, my community is amazing. They're incredibly smart people. I don't know how you just got like a Telegram channel full of 350 just geniuses, but that's somehow what I ended up with with SquireBot. And so in that regard, it's fantastic. It is a force multiplier for me. These people are out there scanning news headlines, scanning new products, vetting people, and bringing the real gems to my attention. So in that regard, it's a force multiplier. In other regards, it's a mixed bag. All right. If you're trying to do fundraising with a token on the market, it's a lot different. It's a much different conversation talking with VCs than if you were to just be talking about a startup that has a tokenomics page in their white paper, but doesn't have anything on the market right now.
So last question from me. We're coming on 45 minutes here, and we definitely want to respect your time. If there's any founders out there, what advice would you give them? You now have the experience of having this token that you're building alongside. You've launched with it, and you seem to have found this balance between, hey, the price doesn't matter. I'm just going to build, but I'm also going to, use my community as a way of distribution and a way of kind of validating that I'm on the right path as far as my thesis is concerned. What advice would you give to other founders that are either having a token already or looking to launch one as they build a business?
Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest piece of advice is really figure out where your product and token fall in that spectrum. Right? Some protocols, like the token, is an integral part of the thing you're building, and therefore you have to have some focus on that, because you get into some weird edge cases where if your token's no longer providing security because it no longer has value, right, you've got edge cases. In other situations, it can be a distraction, it could be a sideshow. And so really, I think the only carte blanche piece of advice I can give is look at your product, look at your token, understand how the two interact, and really decide what you're going to focus on today, what you're going to focus on this week, this month, and this year, and prioritize accordingly based on what you need to hit for your metrics, for your roadmap, and for your milestones.
So maybe we'll wrap it like this then, as we typically do. You said founders should be focusing on what they're doing today, this week, this month, this year. Crypto Jones has a great question. What's coming down the line for Squire? Futures marketplace, a place to trade, friendly UI. We'll close off here with a bit of a roadmap. What are you doing today, this week, this month, this year? And where does Squire end up, I guess, in the future? What's this vision that you have for it?
Yeah. So where Squire is today, is we just launched a new integration with Compute, so evangelizing that, helping our users get access to more models, more private models, uncensored models, and evangelizing the teams that we're integrated with. Beyond that, if you go into the interface, launched just last night, silently soft launched is a new tab on our menu for futures. You can click that and get a sign up, drop your email, and you'll be the first to be notified when the new futures product goes live.
Huge.
Beyond that, everything else is in flux.
Love it. Okay, I got to ask about this too. Ansem, allegedly, according to the Pump Fund ecosystem, Ansem makes his first purchase on his Pump Fund wallet. He bought Pumpcade, friends of the show, Squire, and Quest, one I'm unfamiliar with. I mean, anything going through your head here? Do you know Ansem? He's like main character right now on CT. This was pretty validating. At some level, it's got to be pretty validating. Have you spoken with Ansem? Anything there?
I would kill to speak with Ansem. I would love to sit down with him and give him my full thesis, talk through the finer details of AI compute and what I see for the marketplace. If you guys can make that happen, I would jump at the opportunity.
Well, guess what? We're about to put a clip out right now. And we're not right this second, but we will put a clip out from this interview. What's your message to Ansem for the clip?
Ansem, AI compute is changing, and Squire and the UsePod ecosystem is going to be driving that change. Please reach out and let's talk.
Let's go.
Boom. You know what? Ansem actually watches MCG. He retweeted a few of our past segments. So we'll probably put a clip out, tag him, and then go from there. And we'll try to get you on.
Chris, anything we didn't cover today? I mean, there's been a lot. I just want to make sure we covered all bases. Anything you want to leave the people with that's some alpha, something exciting to look forward to, or we got it all?
I think with the announcement of the futures tab on our marketplace, I think that's the last of it.
That was a bit under the radar, or New information?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't announced it yet. My tweet's gonna get fired off after this, so
Let's
your
go.
listeners are the first to know.
Okay, and so one more time to reiterate, the futures marketplace is in the works shortly or coming out soon. You said you like to only when it's ready, you like to fire. So
Yeah, well, you put your email address in there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll be
this guy's a pro. He knows what he's doing.
I love it.
All right,
Well, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm actually going to leave you with this from our Discord. They described you as a one-of-one dev, and I have to agree. We really appreciate you taking the time to come on MCG. You are what many would refer to as a legend, so we appreciate you.
I'd refer to you as a legend. Let's go. Chris,
All right,
talk
Chris,
soon.
take
Keep it
care.
up.
Thanks.
Bye.
Chris,
What
is
a
founder mode.
Chad. What an absolute, yeah, dude, in the Discord, Jason was like, he's a one-on-one dev, man is a G, legend, Chad, all the stuff. What a great interview. And I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, if I didn't mishear him, he said, Leonard says, Chris is a G, silent shipper, love it. I think he said that it soft launched last night, the futures marketplace, if I'm not, or that last little the last update that he mentioned. I want to, he said he didn't mention it anywhere. It came to us first, but he said they soft launched it last night. So all the sleuths that were kind of like watching, maybe they caught wind, but generally speaking, you caught it here first on MCG. Friend of the show, Chris, absolutely great interview.
It was a cheeky little alpha drop. And, you know, again, he's been saying this whole time. He keeps things close to his chest. He's not going to like forecast his moves too much. And so at the end there, when he dropped the marketplace, I'm like, oh, maybe I just missed this. But it was a cheeky little alpha drop I didn't catch there. But yeah, the futures marketplace is huge. And again, what that's going to unlock is, you know, not only the opportunity to buy and sell inference daily, but buy futures contracts or something of the sorts of inference. You know, guys, we've explained the importance of this, and the CME group recently talked about the importance of this as well. Why a futures compute marketplace is important is because businesses need a fixed amount of spend that they're going to operate on, right? If you're McDonald's, and this is why all the companies use futures contracts. If you didn't know this on the back end, what's happening at your favorite restaurants is they have futures contracts on, you know, a lot of the goods that they use in their recipes, in their food, because they need a fixed cost, right? And a fixed cost is the only way you can operate a sustainable business. It's no different for compute. And so what a compute futures marketplace allows you to do is, hey, if I have a big enterprise company and, you know, we're making $10 million a year, we need to know we're going to spend $1 million or a set amount of money every year on compute. And so what happens is you put in a futures contract, and for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, whatever that life cycle is, we are going to buy compute at this fixed price. If it goes up, if it goes down, we're locked in at this price. But of course, that gives us the ability to know how much we're going to spend, right? So it's an important metric, but it also gives traders and speculators an ability to speculate on the price of compute where they think it's going to go. And so these different models might have different prices of compute that fluctuates. If we think compute's going to go up, or if we think compute's going to drop with all the data centers coming, whatever it might be, you can go long or short on these future contracts. So there's a couple different aspects of this, which is interesting. Of course, the number one being businesses need a fixed cost. And what they're going to do is start, instead of having an employee go rogue or whatever and not know how much he's spending and run up $100,000 monthly tab on compute, they're going to be able to buy and compute at a fixed price. And that's why this is important. CME groups mentioned this. So it'll be a very cool conversation to see, you know, that drop and how it kind of looks in real time and how people are using it. Crypto Jones says, great take, Dom. That's exactly right. Companies need to know their expenses and know the difference. Yeah. It's simple. I mean, you can't operate a company on unknowns, right? You need to have fixed cost. And, you know, that cost variable right now is fluctuating for these companies with compute. And again, we've seen case and time again of companies who laid off a bunch of employees because they're going to use AI now. Then the AI bill is just crazy. And they actually look to hire more employees again and limit the amount of compute that, you know, their company can actually use. So again, they need fixed cost. Point blank period. So whoever can deliver that first and foremost is going to be very successful with that. Speaking of late 10, in the chat here. Very eager to see how it ends up. You and I both. This guy, of course, is partnered with Squire. We just saw, their compute partnership. Little cheeky comment here coming on Thursday, I believe it is. Thursday, we have him coming on. Of course, it's very hot right now. People are talking about it. So had a conversation with him the other day. Very interesting project. I'm excited to bring it to you guys. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Probably use pod. Oh, we forgot to ask about Coliseum.
Yeah.
They made it into like the top 10. You guys. Tear gas.
All right, so we gotta. We'll inevitably we'll have him on again.
Yeah, of course.
And when we do, we got to make sure we ask him. Takeaways from the other interviews from today. I have a few, but I can let you go first, bro.
Takeaways from the other interviews here. I got to go to the banners. Yeah, I mean, the Pi conversation was cool. I wish we could see his face because they are docs. They're on the Forbes cover, so I wish he would have been out like that. But yeah, it seems cool what they're doing. Pretty deeply technical, but I think they're a real company. Uncertain how the token's going to play a role. I think that's the biggest thing that it comes down to. Where's the token fit in? He mentioned some stuff around it. They're thinking about the best solution, but very non-answer, I think there. But product's cool. But again, we've seen this time and time again. Great product, maybe revenue generating. Maybe they even get acquired. Tokens left with nothing. So that's the one piece of feedback I'd give to the team there. But, of course, a cool conversation. You guys crushed that. And then Giannis we had on with Orant. They're doing something right. I think Giannis is a hard worker. I think that's what it's come down to. People look for backgrounds and pedigree for founders. Genuinely, I look for hard workers. Of course, it's a mixture of both. You can be the hardest worker, but if you have no connections, no industry experience, you probably fall flat. So it's a nice mixture, but I think Giannis is a hard worker, someone who is willing to iterate till something works. And we saw that with their first launch being an AI product, now a pivot to Launchpads. And of course, $750,000 has been paid out to creators since. Their pipeline's interesting. I mean, I really think the Web2 focus is important, right? You see Web2 companies go on to places like Product Hunt to go and get that distribution, to go get the word out there, to go get their product out there, which is why we saw, Pi was, I think, number 4 trending on Product Hunt when we had them on today. And so I do think if there's a launch pad that's much more Web2 focused, that basically allows founders to come on and get their product out there, get that distribution, you're going to naturally have that funnel of projects, Web2 related projects coming and launching. The issue lies in, can we get these Web2 founders to understand what they're getting into with crypto? Founder education has always been the biggest gap. We saw it with Believe. You can get the Web2 founders to come in and people like it. People love it. Oh, you're building something cool. Oh, you're generating revenue. Oh, this is special. I can see this blowing up. I want to get behind the vision, but then the founder has no idea where the token plays into it. There's a little thought. So I think Orant is iterating in the right spot on making a very Web2 focused, Web2 friendly product and launchpad where Web2 companies can come on to talk with other founders, get advice, get distribution, get their product out there. But then on the back end, it also funnels down to this launchpad. I think that's great. Step 1 is check. Step 2 is now, well, we need the value from these tokens, and the $750K has been raised for these founders. How much of that are holders and early believers going to see, right? Are they going to see the upside on the companies that do well that come through here? And so that's what it comes down to. So I think they've got check 1 with direction. Check 2 needs to be, and again, one size shoe does not fit all for token launches, but they need to have an idea on the value accrual tokens are going to have. I think equity is the easiest one. And like I mentioned, that 60-day mechanism that Virtual has that allows you to launch a token, try to find product market fit, see if there's traction, see if there's interest. And then at the end of the 60 days, you can either declare that you're going to stick with the token or you're going to abandon the token. And then at that point, obviously, the token either stays or the token goes away, liquidity is drained, and holders are paid out as close to their investment as possible. There's obviously some iterations around that model that need to be done. But my long-winded answer is I think Orant is cool. It's impressive to see them bring new tech projects to front and center, right? So they're doing this right. We need value accrual to these tokens. Equity is the easiest one for these Web2 companies, although I'm aware not one size fits all shoe, not one shoe fits all feet, whatever. So that's my general takeaways, but they're doing good. I mean, look, they got 2 really cool projects to launch so far that have gotten a lot of attention. Again, value accrual needs to go back to the token. Unclear what that looks like for Orant as well, although he said he's iterating on it. So long-winded answer, but hopefully that got all my thoughts out.
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying. I think the same thing actually for Pi and for Orant. I really like the 60-day suggestion. divert. Like I think that's not only an unlock for them, but it could be an unlock for like imagine you do 60 days. Hey, look, launch, farm your fee, not farm fees, but like get your fees. Yeah, see what kind of bootstrap you can do, whether it's bootstrapping community, bootstrapping a treasury, bootstrapping your product. And in 60 days, see how much progress you can make. And then after 60 days, if you do choose to continue, all right, let's go through a Bedrock model. Let's go through an ACE model. I like that. I think that is
if you've raised $50,000, 10,000 of that can be automatically set aside for establishing the company, establishing everything that needs to go with that. I mean, it's not, that's the one friction point with Bedrock and these equity models is it costs money to do it. Sometimes it's subsidized by the underlying teams, but it does cost money, right? It costs lawyer money. It costs, all sorts of stuff. I don't know why no one's doing it. Virtuals, when I saw that, I'm like, that's sick. 60 days, 90 days. I think it should be more like 90 days to find PMF. But like, why is no one else doing this? Because now there is of course, not all holders are going to get 1-to-1. And I think you have to understand that risk. If there's a liquidation, if they don't stick with the token, if product market fit's not there, you're probably going to lose 10, 20, 30%, which sucks. But I guess that's the bet you kind of make.
Or more. But so here's the thing that I've been trying to piece together is the pathway for a permissionless free launch token to a liquidity event, to acquisition, merger, whatever, right? So, and this is, to me, this is the ideal pathway. Number one, permissionless launch, all supply on the market, boom. Virtual styles approach, you have, let's just say 90 days versus 60. See if you get product market fit, see if you can bootstrap a community, bootstrap some capital, and see what progress you can make. At the 90-day mark, boom, we go from token to equity model. And then we incorporate whether it's an ACE round, a Bedrock, or whatever. Now, those early supporters that evangelize your product can now turn into investors on your cap table. Or they can turn into investors that have long-term upside in the business. And then, from there, equity, the traditional equity routes take it, whether it leads to acquisition or whatever. I think that ties the entire from initial launch and initial, early stage to end stage liquidity event. I think that's the mapping. And honestly, Pump Fund, ACE, Metaplex, Bedrock, this is for you guys.
They should be listening to this, and obviously the fees generated from the token launch will not go to the creator until they basically claim the token. I mean, there will be a small portion for development over the next 30, 60, 90 days, which obviously you need, but it's like 10%. The remaining 90% is kept in that vault until he either claims the token or doesn't, and that's either given back to the holders so they can recoup some of their money, or it's then of course given to the project to continue development, depending on what they do. Jill, I don't know why people don't do this. It's a great idea.
I think that aligns it aligns incentives so well, because the early supporters, the early community members, they're aligned in that, hey, if this really takes off, I can buy this at whatever market cap, 70K market cap on a Pump Fund launch or whatever. But maybe eventually this can be a real investment for me. If I think this idea works out really well, if I have conviction in the product, I think it works out well, I can be a real investor in this. So I evangelize the product. The incentive is aligned there. Same thing with the team. They're incentivized to, okay, well, if I can get fees that will pay for the Bedrock, pay for the ACE on one side, and then on the other side, I still get the capital to build out my product. Boom, like both sides. And then even on the Launchpad side, that still incentivizes people to buy and sell, to trade and whatever, which farms fees, not farms fees, God, I keep using that, which generates fees. And they can then use that to Ansem just followed Chris. Let's freaking go, by the way. Did you hear that? Ansem just followed Chris from Squire.
I'm seeing that. So Ansem, if you're listening, happy to get a chat set up between the two of you and just hope.
Dude, let's freaking go.
You'll probably
he watches MCG. I don't care. Ansem was Ansem, what up, man? GG. Appreciate you, homie.
No,
Yo,
I
that's
agree with
crazy.
you, Chill, though. I agree
Yeah.
with you. This is one of the biggest gripes I had even since the Believe days. I was saying, like, dude, we have all these tokens doing the same life cycle. They're launching, farming a bunch of fees. In this case, it is literally farming a bunch of fees and then rugging, and they're keeping all the fees. Why do we not have an insurance pool? Like, why are the founders just getting all these fees up front? Can we just set something up to where they're vested over a year and they're slowly dripped out to the founder? Can we, which can then be cut off if they just rug and leave? I haven't really ever understood this model where we have to democratize launches of projects, but then they gain all these fees and they just run off with no consequences. Why are we giving all the fees up front? I understand there's development
Yeah.
costs, but we can vest
Yeah.
it 10% of that, or 10% of fees you keep, and then the rest are dripped over a year, pro rata based on how much is earned. This model of all the fees going to founders upfront doesn't make sense and doesn't really align incentives for continue to build a token. Because as soon as the attention drops off and volume stops coming and fees stop being generated, they leave. But if that was being dripped out over an entire year or two, well, they're incentivized to stay and continue to build at least until that is up, until that year of like drip feeding is up. And then if they do leave, holders can get some sort of rebates or refund from the rug, because there are all these fees sitting in a thing. So I digress. Nonetheless, there's, I'll have a conversation with Soju from Meteor or whoever's listening to us. We literally have relationships with every single launchpad. Why are we not doing this 60, 90-day mechanism? If it gets signed at the end, you sign a deal writing off 10% of the company equity, 20%, whatever it might be, whatever's pre-agreed upon to holders so we can see upside. And if they decide not to sign off on it, they don't find product market fit, everyone takes a bit of an L, but they get refunded to an extent. There's your idea. There's two mechanisms I found interesting. It was the 60-day mechanism for virtuals and the V4 Uniswap hooks. Okay, the V4 Uniswap hooks. And I don't think it was being used correct way with Prism. Okay, I remember we had Prism on this conversation. For those that don't know, V4 Uniswap hooks allow each position, almost like a ERC 800, if you guys remember that, or 8008, where each position represented one NFT. And there's less supply, but each position represents a liquidity position in the company. So all volumes in and out flow directly to holders. So, it compounds over time. The longer you hold, the more fees you earn, especially if you think the project's going to do well. I don't understand why that doesn't really become the standard, right? Why don't we bring the V4 hooks over to where holders actually get rewarded for holding projects long term? That's like built-in token utility to some extent. If the network is going to have a lot of network effects, the token holders are going to be, that underlying liquidity and see some of that. Like that's number one. So V4 Uniswap hooks, I think, are really, really cool. Let's bring those over and make that a standard. And then number two, the 60, 90-day virtuals mechanism, I think for startups looking for PMF is a great start. So I don't want to ramble on that too long, but I think that's my takeaways from the conversation was that rambling, but good stuff.
Nice. Nice. Dude, I'm so sorry for reacting that way. By the way, I just
valid.
Dude, I was so surprised by that but yeah, I'm like
Ansem's main character, Chill. You know what? I will say this is recently, like, I've been feeling so validated. Obviously, we've grinded out this show for a year.
Yeah.
It is the fastest growing show on crypto Twitter, undeniably. And man, when I go into these chats, obviously I do all the BD for MCG, not all of BD. That's not giving you guys enough credit, but I do some of the BD for MCG. And so I'm going in Telegram chats and Discord groups sometimes to get these projects founders on the show. And man, the amount of love that I get when I go in these TGs and just say, yo, who can we talk to get you on MCG? And then the entire chat goes, oh my gosh, MCG is great. You got to get on. It's super validating. Seeing Pow retweet us the other day for Gym Showdown, super validating. Like these are all traders that, I'm not going to say I look up to Pow, but he's a great trader, sometimes. But like, again, it's very validating seeing it. So it is nice to see. And I think we just can continue to keep our head down. So the reaction is completely warranted. And Ansem's definitely main character right now. He's CTOing Solana as we speak, which is fucking amazing because we've been needing this for like the last 6 months. But he came in at the right time. As we've been talking about, we feel like Solana's pretty bottomed out. So
yeah, no, 100%. 100%. Yeah, like guys, we've been grinding on this show. We started this show back last year in April of 2025. And it's literally it's literally been such a crazy, crazy journey. And by the way, guys, Dom isn't giving himself much credit. He's like a freaking god tier, an S tier, like BD. So don't let him fool you. He does a lot of great work for the show, and I'm absolutely honored to work with him.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm honored to work with you, Chill. I'm honored to be able to log on every day and look at this handsome PFP and say, man, this is my partner in crime and my partner sometimes in real life. Dude, you know what's crazy? For those that don't know the lore, Chill and I have been, I guess you could say, working together for a long time. We've been in the same circles. Like, we've been deep in the trenches for a long time. We really do this, as Chill likes to say. We play this game. I've known Chill forever. We actually worked very closely in terms of, like, there was a very small circle of, like, KOLs, I guess you could say, or like, on-chain guys that I talked to on a daily basis. Chill was one of those people. We had like literally a group of 5 people at one point. I'm sure you remember this. And for years and years, Chill and I did this. And then finally we start this show together. Dude, come to find out, we are literally next door neighbors. Like, we go to the same barber, like the same barber shop. It's insane. I mean, small world, dude. Insanity.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, you guys know this, chat. Like, we're traders and stuff, but we're all over the world. Like, there's people in Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America. There's people spread out everywhere. And so to find out, like, one of the guys in that same group, he's in like Europe. Another guy's in like, another guy was in Australia at one point. You know what I mean? And like, to find out that Dom is literally down the street, I was like, what the heck?
Kitty,
like,
bro. I don't think you guys understand
crazy.
how crazy that is. And again, like, this is back when Telegram trenching was like the only thing. You were in 20 chats, all these big groups.
This is back ETH. This is back on the ETH days, guys. Like, this is like 2020, like early 2023. We're like trenching in groups. It's a bunch of chats. Like, we're all on ETH, mainnet, and then later on that year, like Unibot and the TG bot meta, and then the hamster racing and meme coins, and shortly thereafter, that was when SPX. We were there when SPX 6900 was at 10 million market cap. I watched it the day Murad tweeted. And it rallied from like 15 mil to like 85 mil that same day.
Man, oh my gosh, the good days. I mean, if you guys weren't here, you can't even fathom how frothy things got. Like,
oh man,
things really ran. Like, I mean, complete vaporware. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap. Today, you have legitimate. I mean, today we have Collector Crypt doing 500 million plus annualized revenue. It's trading at $80 million. Speaking of, we got to talk about this whole Pokemon meta, because Arthur Hayes' family office just put out a thesis on cards, and it's caused Jim Showdown, who we had on yesterday, Cards, of course, TCG, who we've had on the past, which is a Pump Fun Hackathon winner, all to spike. They're all going crazy. Which, if you guys...
And I got some alpha on that too.
Okay, let's just jump into alpha, because if you guys were just at all listening to any of these conversations, almost all the TCG stuff we've had on the show is just massively up. I mean, Cards, of course, we notoriously started the rally for, okay? Not going to toot our own horn on this, but it was no consensus. Jill, do you remember this? No one was talking about Cards. We have the Collector Crypt team on. We're paying attention. We see the revenues. Why is this bottomed out at these low levels? Revenues are insane. We have them on the show. We completely get the massive rally. Now it's consensus. We remember G Sparrow, my guy. Complete consensus now. If you caught that, you're up 700-800% on that trade. Gotta say, one of us caught it. There's at least one of us caught. I know that. But you're up 700-800% on that trade. If you caught TCG, we got that before they did their ace round. You're up hundreds of percentage on that trade. If you were on for the show,
that was a call at 1.5, by the way. 1.5.
8 now. It's 7-8 now.
Come on, guys.
M's. And then, of course, Jim Showdown we had on the other day. Josh and I notoriously did a monologue on it, just going into the game at 800, 900K. It's at 2. So that was yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So, dude, the TCG meta has just been hot. All right, I digress. Let's get into it. You said you got some alpha. Let's just jump straight into TCG then. Daddy Duster says, any updates on the EZA launches? Seems like believe. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. We're going to do an Easy A day. Again, it just goes back to hammering in what is the what is the value proposition for these tokens? No one has a clue.
Yeah.
They have the greatest pipeline. Easy A's got the greatest pipeline. I've been saying this since day one. They just need founders to understand what they're getting into. And like, let's sign some equity deals. Let's sign some damn equity deals at this point. It can't be that difficult. Even if it cuts your pool in half. I mean, just let's start doing it. But yeah, we're trying to set up a day with them next week to have 10 of their top projects on. Of course, Dom and Phil come on full ecosystem day because I know it's top 3 launchpad right now. It just crept up to top 3 after doing 4 million in volume the other day. Yeah, the token with Pi gives me concerns. Yep.
Yes, it does. Yep. It gives us the same concern. Honestly,
we've seen it.
I'd even expand that to Orinth overall, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think even Dom just mentioned it with Easy A as well. Like I just need traders need to know that the token will be valuable or is valuable, right? Like the virtuals style mechanism where 60 to 90 days and then it turns into this token equity model, like where it can, an ACE or whatever. Like we need that. And that's been proven through Believe, through Heavendex, through Pump Fund, through that's why all these people are pivoting to tech tokens, right? And we've seen the demand for it over the last couple of weeks covering all these ACE projects.
Tech season.
Yeah, it's tech season, bro. Come on.
Yeah. No, and again, like you open this book, it's the same story time and time again. Like, is it great that EZA's got this great pipeline? Do we have hope for them? Yes. Was it cool that Believe had this pipeline? Yes. But like, what was it cool that Bags had a tech season? Yes. What happened to all of these? The Bags, the leaders in the Bags ecosystem, rugged. All of them. I forget some of the names, but these were multi-millions, open source projects with really good user base, all rugged. Okay, why? Because nothing changed. Okay, we got great founders, great time. They don't understand the social contract. Rug. Believe. Really cool projects. No one can figure out token value curl. Kled was able to. Everything else, I mean, we see Karma's continuing to iterate. There's a handful, but out of everything from Believe, rug, gone. Or has a dead token like Dupe. Easy A, same thing. Cohort 1, sick. Lots of cool projects came out, but they didn't understand the social contract. Lots of those rugged and left. Great launch pads with great pipelines do not work unless you have token value accrual. Simple as. We've read the story a million times over, which is why like I can get excited, but until we see something fundamentally different, it's the same shit over and over again. We need value. We need value to tokens. So I will never get ahead of myself on an ecosystem until I see something fundamentally different. Like integrate the damn 69-day things with equity, do a MetaDAO Futarki situation, something different, which is why like we continue to go back to things like Star and MetaDAO and Easy A and Street. Like we're excited about these things because actually is something different. We're not reading the same damn story over and over again. As much as everyone wants to believe it, that these people are going to be good people and adopt a token, maybe one day cut off a piece of equity for the early supporters. They made them hundreds of thousands of dollars to bail out the product. It doesn't happen. So I digress. We've been talking about this for a long time and I want to keep talking about it, but like I'm not bullish on these things till they do something different.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not personal either.
We've seen this story too many times. So let's hop into the TCG meta real quick. Let me actually let me pull up my screen. Yeah, I can pull up my screen. Bang. But here's what I want to do real quick. So I have my screen pulled up. Let me add it to the stage.
Do you want me to pull up the Arthur Hayes family office breakdown?
Yeah, actually pull that up first and let's go through that and then we'll go through some picks.
I've not read this. This dropped right when we were on stream. Now, ironically, this had been teased a little bit. Arthur Hayes was saying, Ansem, I got, I think he said a shitcoin, quote unquote, in your neck of the woods. Crazy that you would call cards a shitcoin. But it's Arthur Hayes. He likes his, large caps. He says, I got a shitcoin in your neck of the woods, working on something, working on a little something. No one really knew what he was talking about. Game I actually saw did predict it was going to be a cards conversation. And so it was. We see here cards, crypto's next breakout success. And of course, you look at this account. This is a family office of Crypto Hazed, right? So, some of the investments that they do. Chill. I don't know if you want to read it or you want me to read it. It is pretty long. And we try to refrain from monologues on the show. Okay, it's not terrible. I can see.
Yeah, you can go through it, but you can also hit the Grok button at the top right, and it'll give you a little summary too. Top right of the article.
Oh, okay, cheeky. Oh, where's it? Right here. Okay. Summary here. Summary. Collector tokenizes graded trading cards on Solana with real PMF printing 53. We already talked about this. Well reported via MCG. Gotcha machines offer 2% positive EV. Yep, well reported MCG. 2% instant on-chain fees with insured custody, distributed eBays. Yep. Talked about this. MCG. Supply is 40% tighter than FDV with buybacks underway. Supply is 40% tighter than FDV with buybacks underway and liquid funds sideline post-DEX launch. We're still early in the eBay and CC rotation, building financial infrastructure. Yeah, agree with this. So I think then generally it's just a thesis we've been talking about for so long. The market it's going into, and again, people say this too, like dethroning eBay. Right now, the TCG and the gacha is the biggest thing for cards. Truly, I think the biggest factor is going to be their marketplace. Why would people continue to go and sell their graded, trading cards on eBay and lose 16-20%, or go in person and sell them at bulk discounts because it's in an illiquid market? The best thing you can do is probably go to cards and make this the go-to marketplace for collectibles. So yeah, I do think the marketplace is going to be their biggest thing. And yeah, this is even marketplace volume over time. You can see it starting to candle. Right, it's at 880K. It did late May there in one day, it looks like. So I do think the marketplace is going to be huge. Right now, the gacha is their biggest revenue generator. Stellar numbers. We've talked about their numbers ad nauseum. Cards, stellar revenue. Yep, revenue to FDV. I mean, it's literally been my entire thesis that's dropped on cards, which has been, I don't know if you want to call it viral, but going pretty crazy. It all based on the price to earnings ratio and the FDV and compared to revenue. This is not, we sound so pompous, like tooting our own horns on this, but generally, I think the idea of pulling this up was he's basically bull posting about cards. He's saying what everyone already knows, but it's coming from Arthur Hayes' family office, which is, a strong sign. So that's a TLDR.
That's a narrative driver, right? That's a narrative driver for the entire TCG sector, and that's why we see, the entire sector, cashing a nice little bid here. And here is, can you share my screen?
I can share your
by
screen,
any chance? Yeah, it's not allowing me to do it for whatever reason. But as you can see here, a lot of things catching a pump. I mean, obviously, cards has been literally vertical accumulation for quite some time, and it's about to, break all-time high here any moment. So obviously cards doing really well. It's having this this kind of vertical accumulation like we see here. So it's going to keep, that's likely to keep going. So that's cards. But you also see TCG. Again, this is one that we called and was on the show. I mean, they're all the way on the show down here. Like, this is the pivot entry that I pointed out on stream. Like, a bunch of stuff here, doing really well here on TCG, and Collector Crypt is invested in TCG as well. So it's kind of like cards goes up, TCG will likely follow as well.
Collector Crypt's invested in TCG?
Correct. Yes, he said that on his last
oh my gosh, that's
on
helpful.
his last interview. Yeah, on his last interview on MCG. So
also, if you're
Mhm.
watching this closely, what a lot of people missed is they mentioned they're projecting a 7-figure month coming up with some new implementations. A lot of people missed that. But I think it's very interesting to note. So if you go into the comments of the TCG profile, somewhere they commented, I think it was under a conversation of potentially buybacks or revenues, whatever. But he mentioned, 7 figures, 7 figures is what we're aiming for next month with what we have coming. So, and we know the revenue is good. Like, their revenue is good. So yeah, just a little more alpha for you guys.
Yeah, 100%. So there's TCG, and then you obviously have Jim. Like, me and Josh were on the next day, and I thought this would reach like the exact kind of go deeper into the pivot here, but it didn't. It front ran it, and so you guys' thesis and breakdown that you guys did last week actually was pretty spot on. and that went really well. I think my thing here is I'm just gonna start buying utility projects at the 0.786. Nice little pullback and just wait. Like literally, that's been playing out for months, and we've noted that. But Jim was a really good one.
I think traditionally, I think in the past market we've seen for the last 6 months, you could wait for extreme pullbacks, and of course you wanted to because capital preservation was number one. Now we're starting to see real tech pick up. I don't think you're not getting as deep dips anymore. We see with Clued, for example, we kept waiting for dips on, and we have positions in it, but like full positions not deployed. And I think you just take what you can get at this point. Cards is giving no pullbacks. A lot of these are just like get what you can. I think you still get deep retracements, but down to those golden pockets, golden zones that are in previous accumulation points, you might not see so much of anymore. Which is great. I mean, great position for the market to be in. So
100%.
Just bid
totally agreed.
Yeah,
totally agreed. I mean, at a certain point, like there's going to be more and more people interested in tech tokens. We saw like 20,000 dormant wallets waking up. So obviously they're, if they're coming in, they're really interested in these metas, then we're not going to get those deep retracements. Jeet Sparrow, you're actually like right on time here with PokerX, because look at what I have coming up next in the TCG section.
He's so good, Chad. He's so good.
PokerX. So this one is actually really, really, really interesting. So let me pull up.
I like their life cycle. They've been around for a while. This is like, guys, if you've noticed anything right now, if you've noticed anything in the trenches, the things that are ripping are the things that have been around for like 20, 30 days, just grinding. Yep. Low prices, low volume. No one's paying attention to them. I've seen this chart like so many times where they had maybe a peak at launch and they've been dead for 30, 60 days, grinding, showing up every day, and then like massive reprices happening. Massive. This is like the textbook chart right now. So I love this, by the way. Same thing with Jim. It was the exact same chart, I think, as this. So sorry to cut you off there, but just wanted to note that for you guys.
No, you're good. You're good. So this is PokerX. I have a couple tweets that we can run through on this. Okay. So Jeet Sparrow, you're absolutely solid. So basically, let's look at this. Let's look at this from the boy Hammy. Great follow. Follow him on FOMO. Basically, he called this one at like 86K market cap or something like that. But basically, he said PokeRescue is a sniping bot for graded Pokemon cards across all major Web3 listing apps. It scans the market, buys undervalued, at-risk cards when it sees an opportunity, and relists them at a fair market value. Each card gets a cute shelter pet backstory and can be adopted on PokeRescue.com. They also run Gotcha Pack ripping on PokeRescue and Rip Battle, which is part of their eco, and a portion of that revenue funds token buybacks. The project is also followed by the entire cards team. The Rescued Vault already holds $5,000 plus, and this is on May 27. So the numbers could actually have grown since then, by the way, but they already had 5,000 worth of cards at the time in the vault, and they've been built their own in-house pack ripping experience. TCG AI agent that snipes and flips undervalued collector card listings backed by an actual ecosystem with gotchas. A portion of the revenue from the gotcha sites is used for token buybacks. So pretty simple. Fundamentals, pretty simple project here. There's another tweet from Neo. This person I'm not too familiar with, but he basically says by holding 4 million tokens, you get free $50 pack opening every month. It alerts on undervalued listings compared to FMV. By holding 1 million plus tokens, you get access to the PokeRescue marketplace and auctions, 5% discounts on vault listings, and 1% discount on community listings. So obviously there's some kind of like, in addition to just the pure buybacks themselves, they also have, this token gated, token gated aspect to it as well. Here's another one real quick. Last one on PokerX. So it has 3 revenue streams apart from just the token fees. Arbitrage bot flips mispriced collector cards. They have 2 gotcha sites, 1 marketplace. All 3 revenues are directed towards buybacks. 26% of the total token supply has already been bought back using revenue from its products, with more to come. Marketplace equal more exposure, equal more flips, equal more revenue, etc., which leads to more buybacks. So that's the token. The token buyback model, the token flywheel, if you want to call it that. But it actually looks, to me, pretty good. It actually looks really, really good. And here at 400K, I mean, as these, collector, obviously we've just talked about the metrics around collector cards and collector crypt and everything that they have, going on. They obviously have, a ton of cards. They have a ton of inventory, right? Like we talked about this many times on the stream when they've interviewed with us. They have millions of dollars worth of inventory. They're oftentimes running out of inventory and looking for more. But now you have this AI agent that's kind of like automatically scanning their inventory, can do it way more than a human can scan more, stay online more, right? And it's using all of that flipping. Jesus, guys, can you give me an entry on this, please? Before we buy, before we decide to buy, can we?
Doing? We're gonna have to start front running you guys. That's not what we want to do.
Literally, we're sacrificing our entry so that you guys can get the alpha. But anywho, that's what you're seeing here with PokerX. And so in my mind, it's really a great way of getting exposure to the entire TCG meta, because if what you're doing is you're running arbitrage on the entire collector cards inventory, and then you're using all the revenue that you get to buy back the token becomes sort of this, it moves in parallel to the demand for these different cards, like these different gotchas and that's in the collector card inventory. So that's the way I'm looking at PokerX. It's basically just a way of wrapping up the entire interest in the TCG meta into one token, and the value accrual is all through buybacks, and obviously the freaking tokens pumping. So there you guys go, eating up my entries. But but value for you guys.
I see what you're doing in Discord here, Jeet Sparrow. Drop in the PokerX thesis.
Love it. Love it.
Speaking of, how's Discord, man? How are we doing there? A lot of you guys joined. I think we got to make sure we cut down the noise and make sure Signal stays top, front, and center. How are you liking Discord so far, though? It's nice to see some activity. You guys are active as hell. Some great calls too. Cooking.
I'll show you how Discord is. I'll show you how Discord is doing. I'll show you in 2 seconds. If you guys follow, shout out G Sparrow for the alpha. If you guys follow the MCG Alpha account, you likely saw this post yesterday.
Oh geez.
And if you notice, look at the calls over the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe I got to zoom in a little bit here or whatever.
You can't zoom in on Twitter.
I can't. Well, you guys see it. Let me run through it. Over the last 2 weeks, the first call was 0. You guys know Compute, right? At 267 market cap, 50x. Ansem the Black Bull, that meme coin, by the homie, 20x plus on that call. I scanned World of Cloudcraft, 16x. We scanned the Orinth launch, Flicker, and I believe it went I think it went farther than 3.6. This was an older, this was an older one, but 10x on that call, dude. Like we're actually like out here grinding. Yeah. G Sparrow, Discord is a gold mine for alpha. Daddy Duster's loving it. Appreciate you boys for being in there.
Josh is ready to ship this product too. He's been working with Damon team to get it out. It's, like I said, largely going to be a public good. And I'll give you guys the TLDR. It's going to be any one of our interviews we've had in the past. You can go on and track it, and it'll hopefully have a bunch of metrics. We're going to need your feedback. Again, community good. So all feedback is appreciated. If anyone wants to help contribute too, of course, you're welcome to do so. But it'll be, it'll be free to use. Going to be a super cool product. I don't want to ship anything that's not completely ready, but I think they're ready. The Damon guys are ready to get this thing out. They really want to, and Josh as well. So that should be, he gave you a 1-day timeline. I guess he hasn't learned from the founders how timelines work, but that should be coming out soon. He gave a 1-day hard deadline by end of day, which
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, the point here is, we want to create a place like a more more written place for all the alpha that we get here on stream. Obviously, it's well documented over the last year, how much alpha we can get out of these founders when we bring them on and put a camera in front of them and bring them on the audience. Better be ready or I
But
FUD.
MCG, if we don't meet the timeline, we don't have a token to send to zero, so it makes things a little easier.
Fact. But I mean, look, this is going to be community feedback. We're going to need you guys' thoughts on this. And I think that's really what we're going for, is just kind of launching it, seeing what you like about it, seeing what you don't like about it, and then just kind of changing it and putting it together in a way that can deliver the most value as possible to you guys. So definitely follow the MCG Alpha account, get in the Discord. And you'll see exactly what we're talking about.
So is this Discord limit? Are we going to gate this thing soon? Are we going to make it so there are tiers? If you go and contribute and share good calls, you get moved up to like a more private chat with some of the alpha. Like what's
so that's the other thing. That's the other thing that I'm thinking about. First off, before we go for, because if you guys notice, like the MCG main account hasn't tweeted about it. I haven't tweeted about it. Josh or Dom hasn't tweeted about it. We've just been kind of allowing our core audience to trickle in. You guys that watch us live on stream, there's over 2,600 of you guys, almost 2,700 of you guys on the show right now. MCG needs a donation wallet or something. All this alpha dropping, I feel like I owe y'all.
You guys don't know us. Funny you say that though, because we've gotten this question a bunch, and like we don't want to be tacky, but I think we will have a donation wallet. Of course, the caveat being all of the donations, like it's not going to go to lining our pockets. It'll be towards like community product development or something. But I think we probably will spin something up for you guys. So appreciate the kind words, Daddy Duster. We want to be tasteful with doing all this stuff, right? We don't want to like drop a donation wallet and then shove it down your throats, but a lot of people have said this, so I think we probably will get one coming for you guys. Of course, no expectations of like donations to be flowing in.
There should actually be an MCG ETF built in partnership with Meteora, where they keep all the fees. Low key. Yo, Top Bubble, that's actually a really good idea.
We've had people come to us about launching ETFs on their platform. We have We've just been so like shied away from the fact of launching any token with our names tied to it because we have something so good going here. Like we don't need to bootstrap distribution. We have like the really good distribution. So like I don't know. But yeah, maybe an ETF. The question is, we had this for a while where we had like a treasury for MCG, and we would all like try to come together to decide on what to buy and how much to buy. It's kind of difficult when you have 3 people, with all have their own opinions and different trading styles on like how to structure trades in an ETF together collectively.
You know what I was thinking about? What if we make an ETF of for MCG, but we as a community, like all of us, and maybe even our Discord, like we all decide like, we interview the projects, and after the projects, like when we do our takeaways, we say, all right, chat, like, are we including them in the ETF? And it's either yay or nay and we put our votes in, the chat puts their votes in, the Discord puts their votes in. And then, and yeah, Top Fumbler, you're right. He said, I mean, it's not an MCG token per se. It could be a selection of top projects where there's governance votes in the Discord regarding the project, and the weights are depending on their size. Yeah.
Right. This is the best community fund solution I've seen, where you have a token and the amount you hold directly impacts how many votes you have, which depends. And the votes are, of course, on like sizing, what should be included in the ETF, all this stuff. Yeah, it's a good idea. Something we need to think about. There's like a lot. There's like a lot.
Yeah, great idea, Chill. Appreciate you, Crypto Jones. Yeah, there's a lot to think through. Like, there's so much, guys. There's so much that we can do, but there's so much to do already. Between managing the Discord, building out the V1, doing BD and scheduling, and building relationships with like not only project founders, but like people like Solana and Base. I'm talking to you, Base, PFP to PFP right now. Jesse, Brian, come on, man. I need y'all. I need y'all to pick up the phone, give me a call, tap in, bro. We got Knock coming on, or had Knock coming on. No, we have Knock coming on. We had Pod, their first public appearance. You feel me? We had Litcoin, and I mean,
Repo.
We had anybody. Repo. Repo is in our DMs right now, about to come on the show again. Come on, y'all. Jesse, tap in, man. I won't ask again. If I do, it's gonna be problems.
Oh, don't want to get on the wrong side of Chill, man. Feisty.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to get them on, get them to tap in, man. I mean, we do so much for in less than 5 years, when MCG is getting 7 and 9 fig deals from platforms, all this sweat equity will pay off. Oh man, I can't even think about that right now, bro. I just gotta stay head.
We saw what happened with TBPN, bro. 100 M's, 250 M's, whatever the number was they got from OpenAI for that acquisition. Which, by the way, I actually think they got Shadow Man on X. I thoroughly am a TBPN enjoyer. Like, I like keeping up with, the earnings call days when founders come on, and, Vlad from Robinhood comes on, which, by the way, Robinhood calls going crazy. But literally not seeing TBPN on my Twitter feed at all. I think XAI said, look, you're a competitor, brother. Get off the feed. So
get out of here.
TBPN, but they got 250 ball in the bank after that acquisition. So
I mean, bro, can we just look at something real quick? Can we just look at something real quick? Hold on. Let me share my screen here. Let me put my thing to the stage real quick. Do you look at that? Look at the right side of the screen right now.
Mm-hmm. No, I shouldn't do it. I hate doing this. I hate doing this because I'm not one to compare.
Look, at the end of the day,
we're at 11.3. Well, one second. We're at 11.3 followers. I don't want to do it, but I have to. We're gaining 100 followers a day. Oh no.
No.
Tomorrow, the projections assume. The elephant's in the room, right?
Look.
Elephant's in the room. I don't know.
Look, I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying, right? Just throwing it out there.
If I ain't lying, then I'm flying. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't flying.
Look, but you know who doesn't lie, including us? The numbers. The numbers don't lie. Come on, man. You see the right side of the screen. Look, I'm not saying like, oh, like, I hate this guy or that guy or whatever guy or dread guy. I'm not saying everyone provides value. Shout out to homie. Everybody provides value, and I think there's a lot of value in his show. He's done a lot. I mean, but the reality is, I don't know if you guys remember that viral clip from the AI season when Frank D Gods was talking about AGI on Solana.
Shout out Frank.
That was in a. Yeah, he's been calling it like very well. But they were in a different place then, and look at where they came. And the way I'm looking at it is, we were in that place and now we're headed to a different place. That's all it is. But yes, you're right. Base is fumbling the bag, RJ. I'm about to put out another tweet.
We're just trying to put it on, bro. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help.
Bombs. Like, Solana's got the bombs game. They've got, Ansem, KO, CTOing Solana ecosystem. Base needs some motion, bro. We got some motion. In less than 5 years, I want to touch on this real quick too, because this is a thesis I have, Daddy Duster. Thesis I have. Just like we saw the OpenAI acquisition of TBPN, I think a lot of centralized exchanges, I think a lot of major protocols and layer ones start to also acquire their own distribution layers like podcasts, Clipper networks, etc. So now I'm not gonna, we're having conversations with all of the major exchanges or many of the major exchanges and like, you know, top people protocols, but like real shit. I think MCG probably holds out for a dead ass of 7 to 9 figures. I mean, 7 figures, our company's already 7 figures plus, you know, not going to get into that, but yeah, we would definitely need a big deal. Yeah. So I think we see, you know, centralized exchanges, top protocols acquiring their own native streaming solutions, like a podcast or something.
3K viewers on a random Tuesday. Writing's on the wall.
Yeah, bro.
Come on, man.
Market's nuking.
Guys. So we got a little something real quick. You know, it's going to be massive stream, massive schedule this week. We got some nice players. We'll get into that late before we close the stream out. Next week, though, we're thinking about taking a break, like a summer break for MCG. We're thinking about it because we've been going for a year. You know, market's kind of lulling a little bit right now, but we noticed the growth is still there. So we need your help right now. If you're in TG, I need you to go to the general chat. If you're watching the stream, I need you to hit the chat right now and tell us, should we take a break next week or should we just muscle through? Like, let me know. And we'll see if we can meet in the middle. We'll see if we can meet in the middle.
Yeah, it's not even like we don't want to muscle through. It's Josh is out of town for the 4th, seeing his family, and for Canada Day, and I'm also out of town for the 4th. So it's just gonna be chill in town. I got like 2 days in the week. So we were thinking, yeah. You're right. That's what I think too. I think it's crazy. But you know, I'm already trying to schedule for next week, guys. At least one.
Yeah.
I think we do at least one day.
Yeah. I think we do at least one day. You know, keep you guys tapped in. Boys need some pool time. Yeah, you already know. You know, it's July 4th. You know, it's a great weekend. You know what I mean?
I'm saying, bro, you don't. You know, the train's full steam ahead, bro.
I
think
love
we're
it.
doing at least one next week. We'll try to squeeze for sure.
Yeah, we'll do one next week. And it should be actually a really good project too. But yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys bought up Poker X to 600K, that 2X while we were on stream. What are we talking about right now? Guys, look at that, bro. Just in one candle.
Why y'all do that, bro?
You're right, Top Fumbler, though. They did fumble the bag, and I do feel bad for them. But, you know, we're willing to help out. We're a net good for the space, man. We're a net good. If Base wants to work with us, hey, look, we'll work with them. Ain't no problem. We'll share the love.
Chill, can I jump in and give a little contrarian thesis that I think I need to give here? I'm not sure if you guys follow me on Twitter. If you don't, probably smart because there's no value there. But I did put out this tweet. And dare I say it, I'm short hype. I'm short Hyperliquid. Okay. And I think I have a pretty balanced take here that I want to go over on stream. You guys let me know what you think. But here's what happened. I stayed up late last night getting into these numbers. Okay. And my thinking before this was Hyperliquid. It's been consensus. It's been going on a really nice run. Everyone likes Hyperliquid. And by the way, earnings are like they're making a lot of money. And they're in a growth sector. They're growing. But here's what I've been thinking. Hyperliquid has had commodities like gold, silver, copper, oil grow a ton. They've had pre-IPO companies get on there. Now they even got, you know, IPOs and companies that are stocks on there now. And that has amassed about 35 to 43% of the total revenue Hyperliquid's making. Total volume, I should say. And I'm thinking to myself, Hyperliquid launched gold, which got got mainstream media attention. They were talking about this in like Fox Business and stuff, Hyperliquid. For listing gold during peak euphoria. Tons of volume flowed through Hyperliquid for gold. Then, of course, they list oil during the Iran conflict. Friday night, Friday afternoon, markets would close. Donald Trump would say, actually, we are bombing the shit out of Iran. And then oil would go crazy up and down. Extremely volatile. Hyperliquid uniquely captured all of that. Again, mainstream media attention. SpaceX IPO happens. You know, some attention, largely underwhelming for SpaceX on Hyperliquid. I'm like, the crypto market's not dead. It's losing a lot of the volume on Hyperliquid because 43% of that is now for, you know, others, if you will, commodities, pre-IPO, IPO, equities, whatever. And growth has been stagnant. And it's not that I don't want to bet on Hyperliquid. It's just a bet that I think Hyperliquid's had monster months and last quarter or two with listing the most hot, volatile assets in the world. Largely predicated around war, largely predicated around flight to safety, you know, safe haven assets like gold, silver, copper, whatever. And I'm just like in my brain, my math brain says we can't keep up doing this. Like there's not going to be another gold or oil. Like the volatility is just so insane, and we've had monster months, and we're still relatively flat or declining on revenues. It seems unsustainable. So my thesis on Hyperliquid is that we have a bit of a cool off period. I'm still long and strong Hyperliquid. I just think the company needs to mature a bit. I still think we get 24/7 trading on all assets. I think we get there. I think we get pre-IPO private companies listed on Hyperliquid, and we get 24/7 trading for that. I think we get there. We're not there right now. We are getting there. But here's my thesis on Hyperliquid. And I'll just read it to you because it's not too long. I said, don't shoot the messenger. But I think Hype puts in a temporary top here. It feels like a 15 billion valuation and a 19 price to earnings ratio, which this is actually higher, more like 23 based on 30 days, which I calculated. But when I did some numbers, I wanted to make it a little more level headed. So 19 price to earnings ratio. It feels a bit rich in this market. Yes, they're doing 800 million annualized. Again, my calculations were closer to like 600, but I aggregated a bunch of data. So they're doing 800 million annualized revenues based on the last 30 days, but the past few months have been relatively stagnant in terms of growth, despite introducing commodities and equities, which have now grown to become 35 to 42% of all Hyperliquid volume. And you can see here's the total revenue. I mean, it's at like, this goes back to March, late March. It's pretty much tapping on those lower rungs. And you can see that for, you know, their spot volume, their revenue, their futures, per futures, like again, sitting relatively low historically. The launch of SpaceX also had little to no impact on revenues. The days leading up and following the IPO, I had the days leading up and following the IPO, I had no expectations going into it, but the results were seemingly underwhelming. And why I mentioned the days leading up to is because you'd think Hyperliquid would have people trading SpaceX prior to IPO, thinking they could gain some sort of edge before it launched. Again, no meaningful impact on revenue. I will note that when the crypto sector as a whole picks up, Hyperliquid volume should naturally follow suit, considering the majority of the platform's interest still lies in Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and Hype. Although this was not the case in April when Bitcoin was notably trading better. If you jump over to a chart of Bitcoin, you could see Bitcoin traded better for that entire month. That's when we actually had that nice little pop. There's 2 months. Although this was not reflected in the volumes and revenue of Hyperliquid, which is kind of bearish. I'm bullish on Hyperliquid's ability to scale outside of just crypto and the innovation it has brought to 24/7 trading and accessibility for everyone, but I can't help but feel like a cool off is due, especially after monster volumes coming off of the back of listings commodities like gold during peak euphoria and oil. Remember, people were lining up outside of Costco to buy gold, and oil during the Iran conflict. I'm not one to short often, and this is certainly not me betting against Hyperliquid's success, but rather this is me acknowledging the massive growth that they have seen, specifically outside of crypto, and assuming that it's unsustainable until the company matures a bit further. Dips will be certainly for buying, but I'll need sub 50. Got some Hyperliquid maxis in here, even saying this was a balanced take, which I like to see. And here's the pie chart of how the breakdown happens. What do you guys think about this thesis? Yeah, you're right. 19 PDE is nothing in today's market, but for a crypto company, that is high in today's market. It's a bit stretched because crypto companies are trading close to 1-to-1 price to earnings. And again, this is consensus now. You're right. It's 19 price to earnings is not crazy. It's actually a bit higher than that based on the 30-day revenues. But I agree. So what are you guys thinking about this take? Is it ridiculous? Does hype continue to trend up? I mean, it certainly isn't looking ridiculous after putting this out. And again, this is largely because the market's nuking, but Hyperliquid is underperforming. But the short's printing so far. Again, I'm targeting like into the below sub 50 region. But what's your take on that read there?
I think so I'm gonna read Crypto Jones comment here before I say anything. He says, I think your take is a wise one, but you're underestimating the magnitude of the SpaceX IPO coming straight on chain, a historic and truly game-changing event for crypto. So I agree with you, Crypto Jones, and to add on to that, what I'm gonna do here is show my screen, and I'll give you the TA
I also agree with that too, but it was completely underwhelming. Like, it didn't boost up volumes. It actually wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't traded as much as you would think on Hyperliquid. So
I mean,
yes,
who's to say people trusted it, right? Like, who's to say, like, I mean, it's something completely new. Maybe a lot of people were sidelined, maybe they watched, but we definitely saw that it generated a lot of volume, day one.
Yeah, it did. But again, meaningfully, it didn't have any boost on like weekly revenue, daily volume.
Because it was only one day. Like,
no, but it wasn't, because you were able to trade because you don't think people were going on Hyperliquid a week before SpaceX listing, knowing it was going to list, and they were trying to either short it or long it, depending on what they thought it was going to list at and go to. That's why I mentioned in here, like, the launch of SpaceX had little or no impact on revenues the days leading up to and following the IPO. Like, the IPO is one thing, but even the days leading up to it, where people were speculating on if it was going to, IPO at 1.75 trillion, if it was going to go to 2 trillion or 3 trillion, or drop down on IPO day, like, even the days leading up to it had little to no meaningful impact on like volume growth.
So I'll say this. Let me actually go to my chart here. All right. So let's look at Hyperliquid from a TA standpoint to get a really, really balanced take on it, because I think what Dom has given us so far is a very balanced, and like Crypto Jones says, a very wise take on directionally where Hyperliquid is right now. So you're short good. Your target of sub 50K, maybe sub 50K, but just looking at the TA, I'm looking at the liquidity heat map here. We have a point of control at about $51. So maybe we front run the sub 50 sub 50K, the sub $50 level. But this is just according to the liquidity. We're headed to basically, $50 almost. But there's a few things that I want to point out outside of just the liquidity. When we look at the chart on the daily, we notice that we have this massive like area of support here between $56 and $43. So I'm not saying that the likelihood of a sub $50 Hyperliquid is zero, but what I am saying, I think it's a very slim chance, because again, we have a lot of the liquidity here around $51, right? And if you notice, there's an FEG, a weekly FEG, there's a weekly breaker, there's a lot of support here around this $51 region. So I'm actually going to move my alerts to this area. And what I would like to see is upon zooming in, I want to see an SFP form in this area right here. I want to see an SFP here. Basically what happens is we come down, bang, we tag this level, this $51 level, that grabs at all of the available liquidity. Maybe we go a little bit lower to $50. Maybe we go sub 50, who knows? But we rebound really quickly. And then this is the entry right here. And then we resume the rally. What we have to understand is Hyperliquid has been ahead of this market for a very long time. And when I say ahead of this market, I don't mean in the same way that ZEC was ahead. I don't mean in the same way that Near Protocol was ahead. I don't mean in the same way that XPL or WorldCoin has been showing strength. Like, this has been a strong coin for a very, very long time. And the characteristics around this strength has more to do with the Hyperliquid maxis that aren't like, there aren't many willing sellers on this chart. even going into all-time highs. I mean, yes, now we're starting to kind of see a little bit more of a slowdown here above the old all-time high at $60. But there's not a lot of willing sellers on on this chart. There hasn't been for a very, very long time. So as we head into this bottoming of the macro markets with Bitcoin, Solana, and some of these other majors that we've seen outperforming, I can see Hyperliquid going to the $51 area, maybe $50, and then quickly rebound. Even if we go sub $50, I think we quickly rebound, form an SFP, and we at least target $75, if not fresh all-time highs. That's my thesis on Hype. So while it's prudent to be bearish right here, I think we need to, keep in mind that this bounce is going to be powerful coming up. And there's a lot of support. I mean, look at all the green boxes on my chart. Like, there's a lot of support here at the $51 area for Hyperliquid. So just something for us to keep in mind as we look at going short.
Yeah, I'm definitely much more interested in going long than going short for what it's worth. So give me that entry.
S Power says, take a break. I'll fill in. All right, yo, how about this?
Open stream.
How about this? I actually have a great idea. Shout out Crypto Jones for giving me this idea. Crypto Jones said earlier on stream, I can't seem to find it now, but basically Crypto Jones was like, hey, you got really good momentum. Just come on for at least an hour. Just come on for an hour real quick. Do something live with the community or whatever. So I'm going to talk with the boys. We'll see. But maybe next week, I come on, I solo stream, maybe with a couple community members from the Discord, and maybe we just trench for like an hour. We do some research, we talk about the market, talk about where things are going. I don't know. I'll chop it up with the boys. We'll see what's up. But yeah, I think that would be a good idea. We'll see how that progresses. But that's the thoughts on Hyperliquid. Crypto Jones says, if Hype were to implode, would that be devastating? Yes. Oh my gosh. If Hyperliquid implodes,
yeah, be very bad.
It's over for a minute. It's over till 2027. I promise you that.
The Hyperliquid, like, it should not implode.
Yeah,
you know what
shouldn't.
though? It would be a different type of implosion. Hyperliquid would implode because somebody. I remember we saw this in the past where someone tried to manipulate and game Hyperliquid, and they froze it. Remember, that's where people started to get the centralized concerns for Hyperliquid.
Yeah.
So Hyperliquid imploding, I don't think they would lose as much customer funds. Like, that's the difference. FTX,
Dude, they got billions, bro. They got billions,
Who, you're saying
dog.
Hyperliquid?
Yeah. I mean, they got billions in free capital just at the ready. You know what I mean?
Interest. Yeah, but I'm not sure if someone exploited them for a couple $1 billion. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Customers can withdraw and deposit as they please. It's not like I don't think Hyperliquid's taking the open interest and going and investing it elsewhere. Whereas that was the case for FTX, right? So they just physically couldn't refund all the people that were running to withdraw their cash, and that's why they had to run on liquidity and, of course, cascading of effect. Like here, I think people will be able to withdraw and deposit whenever they want because Hyperliquid's not taking this money. They have plenty of free cash flow. They're not taking this money, open interest, and going and like investing in T-bills or something. It's just straight liquid, I think. That's the one difference I would see.
Yeah. One other thing real quick. So wait, were you finished with the Hype breakdown?
Yeah. Good on the Hype breakdown. I don't know, guys. Maybe.
Did you guys see this? So right after our segment, like, as you guys know, we absolutely like pumped the Poker X chart, and they came out. They followed me right after. I guess a ton of people were in their Telegram or wherever their community is, and they know that it was us, and so they're like, well, we're looking forward to coming on the live soon. So we'll shout out them. I'll go ahead and like it.
Just does a solo session with them.
Yeah, I'm down. I'd be down. other than that, there was I did want to go through real quick some high time frame thoughts because real quick here on Bitcoin. I basically drew this out last night as I was like doing just like some
Chill,
just
and
some
I'm
charting.
gonna leave you to it, boys. I'm gonna hop off.
Do it.
I'll catch you. Get some work
Do
done.
it. I gotta get going myself. But all right, boys. So real quick, let's just go through some of this stuff, and then we can wrap up. And I think this is a good place. We've been on for a little while. Like we saw on Bitcoin here, we're coming into like a nice bullish order block. Previous range back from 2021, previous range back from 2024. So this is a high time frame area of demand. Last week when we were looking at the charts, I also told you guys that about this FVG and this breaker breaker block here as well in red. So we're rejecting off of that level, and as you guys know, I'm still targeting a deeper retracement into that green box, which brings me to basically what we were talking about. What I was looking at last night as I was charting this, I kind of like drew this out, and I'm like, oh, I think this is actually kind of my thesis here. Is basically we're coming into bottoming. Let's call it bottoming, like a true ultimate bottom, like sometime in July, and then from there we just begin this like slow crawl upwards until later on this year it becomes more explosive. And I don't know if we make it to 100K this year, but I definitely can see us making it, at least back to like the 80s, maybe well into the 90s. But I think it's going to be choppy, right? It's going to be climbing a wall of worry, and we'll just have to see, based on Michael Saylor, based on whatever narratives drives this price action, we'll see how this kind of plays out. But I'm in the habit of marking out a move. I'm in the habit of marking out the next move, preparing one move ahead, right? So I'm not worried about later this year. I'm just worried about, okay, what could possibly come next? Last week, we basically said a rejection off this red level here would come next. And right now, the next move for me that I'm worried about, or that I'm thinking of, is the sub 60K, a deeper retracement into the sub 60K level, really chewing up all of that liquidity, and then beginning to climb our way out. And we'll see if it's a V-shaped reversal. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be more slow, choppy, and then we'll start to climb out. So that's the kind of weak view ahead there. We talked about Solana, the high time frame views coming into a 2-month FVG here. So looking really, really good place here to bottom. On the monthly, I'm also taking a look at this this SFP that could potentially form on Solana. So I'm waiting to see if we close this SFP. This is going to close in about 7 days. And so I'll be watching out for that. And I think I'm actually probably going to get absurdly long Solana at some point. I'm calling it now. I need the 7 days to go by. I need to go ahead and time my entry and all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to be moving markets here, or not moving markets. I'm pretty sure we're going to be coming off a bottom here on Solana. So that is the view of Bitcoin, Solana. Lastly here is the MET chart. Nice little falling wedge on MET. I mean, you guys know Dom has been reviewing the overall metrics on MET. And right now, this is basically what I see. We've kind of tapped this trend line here, and we finally broke out of it. And I think we head for higher. I think we go for higher here on MET. I mean, everything that's built on Solana, from a innovative standpoint, pre-IPOs, equities on chain, launch pads, ownership. So many things have been built on MET. I think this is probably criminally undervalued where it is right now. And I think that's pretty much it. We talked a lot today about so many different things, and it looks like markets are still in an area where they're going to need some time before which is also kind of why we were like, okay, maybe we should take a break next week if, things are just going to be going down a little bit. But hey, look, maybe we just continue. Maybe I bridge the gap and we maybe do like 1 or 2 streams next week to make sure, that we still see you guys. We keep the momentum going here. But appreciate you, Crypto Jones. Moving Markets MCG should stand for making crypto great. MCG making crypto. Yo, Crypto Jones. Dude, that's a major unlock. I'm going to text the boys right now. Crypto Jones says that MCG should stand for making crypto great. Let's freaking go. I actually love that. All right. Love that, Crypto Jones. Appreciate you. All right. I think MCG massive candle group is what are you thinking about? Like the idea of some chill streams, trenching, trying to catch a summer runner, submitting trademark. Now, wait, don't front run. Don't front run it, guys. Please don't do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, what else? You guys are crazy, man. You guys are crazy. Look, it's almost 3,000 of us in here right now. It's almost 3,000 in this stream. Real quick, I want you guys, if you can do me a favor, there's a lot of us here. If you like today's show, if you like what we do, I want you to go to @MCG Live right here. Go to @MCG Live. I want you to do 2 things. I want you to hit the follow button if you're not already following us. Thank you for showing up today on stream. We do this Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We may take a break next week, but we do this every single week. We've been streaming for a full year since April 2025, and we have not taken a break. We've been streaming every single day, and we've had over 500 plus founders on the show. And so we love to do this. If you guys love what we do, make sure you hit the follow, scroll down. And the second thing you'll do is hit 2 things, hit like and RT on this stream. I know the stream is coming to an end here, but make sure all the homies know that they can watch the stream back. So if you're just joining us right now because you saw the retweet, go ahead and rewind this whole stream back. We just interviewed Pi, Orinth, and we also interviewed Chris, the founder of Squire, and we even got him an Ansem follow. We had him shout out Ansem on our stream, and then Ansem followed him shortly after that. That was actually crazy validation on our side, and that was actually really awesome. I mean, look at this. Shortly, like about 3 minutes after the interview of Squire, as you can see here, Chris, he goes into his Discord chat and he's like, holy crap, Ansem just followed me. And that was right after our interview. So it's, safe to say that the main character here watches MCG, and I'm glad you guys watch as well. So look, let's go through the schedule for the rest of the week here, and then we'll go ahead and shut her down. Here's the schedule. So like I said, we had Orinth, Pi, Squire on, great conversations. Tomorrow, we're also going to have on Velvet Capital. Yeah, let's freaking go. We got Velvet Capital on. Tomorrow, we have Blocks API. They have a really great community over there at Blocks. And then we have Jeffy, Flip Cash, and then also Riverboat on tomorrow. Later on in the week, we have Zero Compute AI. I'm sure you guys know that name. We have Knockchain. Shout out Base. Y'all need to hit our line, tap in. We cover all your projects. And then we also have some really good ones at the end of the week. Extra. This is a one that came out really strong. Excited to see what's going on under the hood. And then we have Railgun. I don't know if you guys saw that Railgun was one of the top privacy projects on Ethereum. They're top 2 by revenue or something like that. So we have some great projects lined up. Great interviews today. We have a ton of great interviews coming on tomorrow as well as the rest of the week. So tap in. Make sure you're following the MCG Live account. And if you haven't already, if you are an avid watcher, an avid viewer of MCG, you'd likely benefit a lot from the Discord. So if you want to access our Discord, you'll go to the MCG account, you'll click the link in our bio, and then you'll see the invite there to our Discord. And so feel free to get in there. We trench together, we research projects, we talk about, our thoughts on the market. We analyze setups. We do a lot. We help each other grow. We help each other to, we help each other as we trade together. So a lot of high signal activities going on there in the Discord. So outside of that, guys, look, appreciate you guys listening in to us today. It's 3:30. We're coming up on about almost 4 hours of streaming today. So there's a lot here that you guys were able to see. If you're just joining us, go ahead and hit rewind. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the timeline. And if you're in there, I'll see you in the Discord. Link in bio. Appreciate y'all. Till next time. Deuces.